Do you know that Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary Japanese swordsman, never lost a duel in his entire life? In fact, he became one of the most revered figures in martial arts by mastering not only the sword but the art of living itself. Today, we're going to dive deep into his timeless wisdom and uncover the principles that can help you achieve any goal instantly, whether you're looking to excel in business, fitness, or personal growth. These aren't just random philosophies, they are battle-tested strategies that Musashi himself used to conquer his world. Trust me, this is the kind of knowledge you don't want to miss. Stick with me till the end and discover how you can apply these rules to dominate your own path to success. Number 1. Accept everything just the way it is. Alright, let's dive into this idea of accepting everything just the way it is, a cornerstone in Miyamoto Musashi's philosophy for mastery. At first glance, it might sound a bit counterintuitive, especially in a world that's always pushing us to change, improve, and strive for more. But there's a profound wisdom here that can transform how we approach our goals and daily lives. Imagine for a moment that you're standing at the base of a mountain, looking up at the peak shrouded in clouds. The path ahead is unclear, rocky, and perhaps a bit daunting. Accepting everything as it is doesn't mean giving up or resigning yourself to the current state of things. Instead, it's about acknowledging where you are right now without judgment or resistance. It's recognizing the terrain before you, understanding its challenges and opportunities, and using that awareness as your starting point. This acceptance is not passive, it's active and empowering. It frees up mental and emotional energy that would otherwise be spent battling against reality. Think of it as clearing the clutter from your mind. When you're not fighting against the present moment, you're better positioned to navigate it effectively. It's like having a clear map before embarking on a journey. You see the roads, the obstacles, and the landmarks, and you can plan your route accordingly. Moreover, accepting things as they are cultivates resilience. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we plan, things can go sideways. When you embrace the current situation, you become more adaptable. Instead of being thrown off course by unexpected changes, you adjust your sails and continue moving forward. This flexibility is crucial for mastery because it allows you to stay focused on your goals, even when the path isn't straight or smooth. There's also a liberating aspect to this acceptance. Often, we carry the weight of what should be or what could have been. These thoughts can be like anchors, holding us back from fully engaging with the present. By letting go of these burdens and accepting things as they are, you open yourself up to new possibilities. It's like turning a key in a lock. Suddenly, doors you didn't even know existed start to swing open. Musashi understood that mastery isn't just about honing your skills or accumulating knowledge. It's about mastering your mind and emotions. Acceptance plays a pivotal role in this inner mastery. It helps you maintain clarity and focus, ensuring that your energy is directed towards what truly matters. Instead of being distracted by frustration or disappointment, you stay centered and committed to your path. This doesn't mean you stop striving for improvement or setting goals. On the contrary, acceptance provides a stable foundation from which growth can flourish. When you accept the current state of things, you gain a realistic perspective that informs your actions. You can identify what needs to change and what can be leveraged to your advantage. It's a balanced approach that blends contentment with ambition. In practice, embracing acceptance can transform how you handle setbacks. Instead of viewing them as failures, you see them as part of the journey. Each obstacle becomes a lesson, a stepping stone towards your ultimate goal. This mindset shift is powerful because it turns challenges into opportunities for growth and learning. Furthermore, acceptance fosters a sense of peace and reduces internal conflict. When you're at war with your circumstances, it creates tension and stress. By embracing the present, you create harmony within yourself, which in turn enhances your ability to perform and achieve. It's like finding the calm in the storm, a place where you can think clearly and act decisively. Ultimately, accepting everything just the way it is about aligning yourself with reality. It's about seeing things as they are, not as you wish them to be. This alignment creates a strong foundation for mastery, allowing you to move forward with confidence and purpose. It's a timeless principle that transcends cultures and eras, speaking to the universal human experience of striving for excellence amidst the complexities of life. So, as you embark on your journey towards mastering any goal, remember the power of acceptance. Embrace the present moment, acknowledge where you are, and use that understanding to propel yourself forward. It's not about settling, it's about starting from a place of clarity and strength. In doing so, you align yourself with the natural flow of life, making your pursuit of mastery not just achievable, but deeply fulfilling. Number 2, do not seek pleasures for their own sake. Alright, let's dive into this idea. Do not seek pleasures for their own sake. At first glance, it might sound a bit counterintuitive, especially in a world that often chases instant gratification. But when you peel back the layers, it's a principle that holds profound wisdom, especially through the lens of Miyamoto Musashi's teachings. Imagine for a moment that pleasures are like fleeting shadows. They're enticing, yes, but they don't offer lasting fulfillment. Musashi wasn't just a swordsman, he was a strategist who understood the deeper currents that drive mastery. Seeking pleasures for their own sake is like chasing the wind. No matter how fast you run, you can't quite catch it. Instead, Musashi encourages us to focus on something more enduring, something that contributes to our growth and long-term goals. Think about it this way. When you chase after every little joy, you scatter your energy in too many directions. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes in it, you're constantly losing what you're trying to gather. By not seeking pleasures solely for their own sake, you conserve your energy and direct it towards what truly matters. This doesn't mean you have to live a life devoid of joy. Far from it. It's about prioritizing and understanding what brings genuine satisfaction versus what's just momentary delight. Musashi's approach is all about discipline and focus. It's easy to get sidetracked by the allure of immediate pleasures. They're right there, tempting us with their simplicity and instant rewards. But mastery, whether in martial arts or any other field, demands a level of commitment that transcends these temporary distractions. It's about setting your sights on a bigger picture, something that requires sustained effort and dedication. There's also an element of self-control here. By not indulging in every pleasure that comes your way, you build a kind of mental resilience. You train yourself to withstand the pull of distractions and stay committed to your path. It's like strengthening a muscle. The more you practice restraint, the stronger your ability to focus becomes. This self-control is a cornerstone of mastery, enabling you to push through challenges and stay aligned with your long-term objectives. Another aspect to consider is the quality of your pursuits. When you're not fixated on immediate pleasures, you're more likely to engage in activities that are meaningful and enriching. It's about finding joy in the process rather than the outcome. Musashi understood that true mastery isn't about the end result alone, but about the journey, the growth, the learning, the evolution that happens along the way. By focusing on what truly matters, you cultivate a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. Moreover, rejecting the pursuit of pleasure for its own sake can lead to a more balanced and harmonious life. It encourages you to seek satisfaction in diverse areas, personal growth, relationships, creativity, rather than relying on transient pleasures that might leave you feeling empty in the long run. It's about building a life that's rich and rewarding on multiple levels, where each aspect supports and enhances the others. Of course, this isn't to say that you should deny yourself all pleasures. Life is meant to be enjoyed, after all. The key is discernment, knowing which pleasures add value to your life and which ones are just fleeting distractions. It's about making conscious choices that align with your goals and values. When you do this, pleasures become part of a larger tapestry of your life's journey, enriching it rather than detracting from it. In essence, Musashi's advice to not seek pleasures for their own sake is a call to live with intention and purpose. It's an invitation to look beyond the surface and engage with life in a way that fosters true mastery and lasting satisfaction. By prioritizing what truly matters, you create a foundation upon which you can build anything you set your mind to. So, next time you find yourself tempted by a quick thrill or an easy distraction, take a step back and consider whether it's serving your greater goals. Embrace the discipline that Musashi champions, and you might just find that the path to mastery is paved not with fleeting pleasures, but with steadfast focus and meaningful pursuits. Number 3. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Alright, let's dive into this idea of think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. It's a fascinating concept that really flips the script on how we typically view ourselves and our place in the grand scheme of things. Imagine taking a step back and viewing yourself not as the center of the universe, but as a part of a much larger, intricate tapestry. It's not about diminishing your worth or your experiences, but about broadening your perspective to embrace the vastness around you. When you think lightly of yourself, it's like giving yourself permission to let go of the constant self-judgment and the pressure to be everything to everyone. It's an invitation to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a friend. This mindset can be incredibly freeing. Instead of being bogged down by the need to constantly prove yourself or to fit into a predefined mold, you allow yourself the space to just be. It's about recognizing that you're not alone in your struggles and triumphs, and that's okay. On the flip side, thinking deeply of the world means engaging with the complexities and wonders that surround us. It's about cultivating a sense of curiosity and a desire to understand the myriad of perspectives that exist. The world is a mosaic of cultures, ideas, and experiences, each contributing to the richness of our collective existence. By delving deep into the world, you open yourself up to endless possibilities for growth and learning. It's like embarking on an endless adventure where every day brings something new to explore and appreciate. Balancing these two ways of thinking creates a harmonious relationship between self and the external environment. It encourages humility and fosters empathy. When you don't place yourself above others, you become more receptive to different viewpoints and more compassionate towards others' journeys. This balance can lead to more meaningful connections and a greater sense of fulfillment. Moreover, this mindset can significantly impact how you approach challenges and setbacks. Thinking lightly of yourself can reduce the fear of failure because you understand that setbacks are just part of the larger journey, not a reflection of your entire being. At the same time, thinking deeply of the world equips you with the resilience and adaptability to navigate through uncertainties. It's like having a sturdy anchor and a flexible sail, allowing you to stay grounded while also being able to pivot when needed. This approach also nurtures creativity and innovation. When you're not confined by a rigid self-image, you're more likely to experiment and take risks. Simultaneously, a deep appreciation for the world fuels inspiration, providing endless sources of ideas and perspectives to draw from. It's a dynamic interplay between self-awareness and external awareness that sparks creativity in its most authentic form. In relationships, this philosophy can transform interactions. By thinking lightly of yourself, you're less likely to dominate conversations or seek validation, creating space for others to share and shine. Thinking deeply of the world means valuing diverse opinions and experiences, fostering a more inclusive and supportive environment. It's about building bridges rather than walls, creating a community where everyone feels seen and heard. Adopting this way of thinking also aligns closely with personal growth and mastery. Mastery isn't just about honing a specific skill or achieving a particular goal, it's about a continuous journey of self-improvement and understanding. By maintaining a light view of yourself, you stay open to feedback and new learning opportunities without the baggage of ego. And by deeply engaging with the world, you constantly expose yourself to new ideas and challenges that push you to grow. In essence, think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world is a powerful guiding principle. It encourages a balanced perspective that values both personal well-being and a profound connection with the broader universe. It's a reminder that while your individual journey is important, it's part of something much larger and infinitely more complex. Embracing this mindset can lead to a more enriched, compassionate, and enlightened way of living, where mastery is not just an endpoint, but a beautiful, ongoing process of exploration and understanding. So, next time you find yourself caught up in self-doubt or overwhelmed by the vastness of the world, try to find that sweet spot between lightness and depth. Let yourself breathe, let the world inspire you, and watch how this balance transforms your approach to life and your goals. It's not about diminishing yourself, it's about elevating your awareness and embracing the incredible journey that lies ahead. Number 4. Be detached from desire your whole life long. Alright, let's talk about something that might seem a bit paradoxical at first: being detached from desire your whole life long. It's one of Miyamoto Musashi's gems when it comes to achieving mastery, and trust me, it's not as dry or restrictive as it might sound. Think of detachment not as a cold, emotionless state, but more like having a clear, uncluttered mind. When you're not constantly chasing after desires, you free up space for what truly matters. It's like cleaning out a messy room. You make room for things that are important without the distraction of unnecessary clutter. This clarity allows you to focus on your goals with laser precision, without getting sidetracked by fleeting wants or external pressures. Musashi wasn't advocating for a life devoid of passion or ambition. Instead, he was pointing towards a balanced approach where desires don't control you. Imagine being able to pursue your goals without being overwhelmed by cravings or fears. It's about maintaining an inner equilibrium, where your actions are guided by purpose rather than by the ups and downs of desire. This steadiness is crucial for mastery because it keeps you grounded, no matter what comes your way. When you detach from desire, you also become more resilient. Life throws all sorts of curveballs, and when you're not clinging tightly to specific outcomes, you can adapt more easily. It's like having a flexible mindset that bends without breaking. This resilience means you can handle setbacks without losing your cool or your direction. Instead of being derailed by disappointments, you stay on course, adjusting your strategies as needed while keeping your ultimate goals in sight. There's a certain freedom that comes with detachment. Without the constant pull of desire, you're not driven by the need to prove yourself or to achieve for the sake of achievement. You're driven by a deeper sense of purpose and commitment. This intrinsic motivation is far more sustainable and fulfilling than any external reward. It's about finding joy in the process itself, rather than in the end result. This shift in perspective can make the journey toward mastery not just bearable, but genuinely enjoyable. Musashi's idea also touches on the concept of letting go. Letting go of attachments to specific outcomes doesn't mean you stop caring or striving. It means you release the chains that bind you to a single path. This openness allows you to explore different avenues and embrace unexpected opportunities. It's like having a wide-open horizon instead of being fixated on one distant point. This flexibility can lead to discoveries and innovations that a more desire-driven approach might never uncover. Moreover, detachment fosters a deep sense of inner peace. When you're not constantly battling your desires, there's less internal conflict and more harmony. This peace is a fertile ground for creativity and insight. With a calm mind, you can think more clearly, make better decisions, and respond to challenges with grace. It's like having a serene lake where you can see reflections clearly, without the ripples of desire distorting your view. Another layer to this is the idea of self-mastery. By detaching from desire, you take control of your own mind and emotions rather than letting them dictate your actions. This self-governance is a powerful tool in achieving mastery because it ensures that your actions are deliberate and aligned with your true intentions. It's about being the captain of your own ship, steering confidently through both calm and stormy seas. detachment also encourages a long-term perspective. When you're not fixated on immediate gratification, you can plan and act with the future in mind. This patience and foresight are essential for mastering any skill or achieving significant goals. It's about understanding that mastery is a journey, not a sprint, and embracing the time and effort it takes to reach the peak. In essence, being detached from desire is about cultivating a mindset that prioritizes clarity, resilience, freedom, peace, self-mastery, and long-term vision. It's a holistic approach that aligns perfectly with Musashi's teachings on mastery. By letting go of the incessant pull of desire, you create a stable foundation from which you can pursue your goals with unwavering focus and genuine passion. So, as you journey towards mastering any goal, keep this principle in mind. Embrace detachment not as a denial of your desires, but as a way to rise above them. It's about finding that sweet spot where your ambitions are fueled by purpose rather than by fleeting wants. In doing so, you set yourself up for a path that's not only effective but deeply fulfilling. Mastery, after all, isn't just about achieving, it's about becoming the best version of yourself along the way. Number 5. Do not collect weapons or practice with weapons beyond what is useful. Alright, let's chat about something Musashi was pretty clear on: do not collect weapons or practice with weapons beyond what is useful. At first glance, it might seem a bit strange, especially if you're thinking about mastery in a broader sense. But dig a little deeper, and you'll see there's some solid logic behind it. Imagine you're trying to master a skill. Whether it's drawing, coding, or even cooking, there's a point where having too many tools or techniques can actually bog you down. Musashi knew that spreading yourself too thin with unnecessary weapons, or in modern terms, unnecessary skills, can dilute your focus. It's not about limiting yourself, it's about honing in on what truly matters. Think about it like this: every weapon in Musashi's arsenal served a purpose. Each one was chosen for its effectiveness and relevance to his goals. He didn't hoard swords or practice every martial art under the sun. Instead, he focused on mastering what he needed. This approach is all about efficiency and effectiveness. Why clutter your practice with extras that don't add value? It's about quality over quantity. There's also the aspect of mental clarity. When you have too many tools or techniques at your disposal, it can become overwhelming. Musashi understood that mastery requires a clear mind, free from unnecessary distractions. By keeping your focus tight, you can dive deeper into your practice, truly understanding and internalizing the skills that matter most. It's like trying to navigate through a fog. You need to clear the unnecessary elements to see your path clearly. Moreover, Musashi's advice touches on the importance of adaptability. By not overcommitting to a vast array of weapons, he remained flexible, able to adjust his strategy based on the situation at hand. In any pursuit, being adaptable is key. When you limit yourself to what's useful, you can pivot more easily, responding to challenges without being weighed down by unnecessary baggage. There's also a certain elegance and simplicity. Musashi's minimalist approach wasn't about lacking options, it was about embracing what was essential. Simplicity can lead to a more profound understanding and a deeper connection with your chosen path. When you strip away the non-essentials, what remains is a pure, unadulterated focus on what truly matters. It's a bit like clearing out a cluttered room. You make space for what's important and let go of what's not. Another point to consider is the energy you invest. Mastery demands a lot of energy, time, effort, dedication. If you're spreading that energy across too many areas, you're not giving anything your all. Musashi knew that by concentrating his efforts on what was most useful, he could achieve a higher level of proficiency. It's about putting your energy where it counts, ensuring that every bit of effort you put in brings you closer to your goal. Let's not forget about the journey itself. Mastery is not just about the end result, it's about the process, the growth, the evolution. When you focus on what's useful, you're more present in your practice, more engaged with each step of your journey. You're not distracted by the allure of trying everything, you're fully immersed in mastering what you've chosen. This deep engagement fosters a more meaningful and rewarding path to mastery. Musashi's rule also speaks to the idea of intentionality. Every weapon he chose, every technique he practiced, was with intention. There was a purpose behind each choice, a reason why it was included in his repertoire. This intentionality can be applied to any area of life. When you approach your goals with intention, you make deliberate choices that align with your vision, rather than accumulating things just for the sake of having them. In essence, Musashi's advice to not collect weapons or practice beyond what's useful is a lesson in focus, clarity, and intentionality. It's about honing in on what truly matters, eliminating the unnecessary, and dedicating yourself fully to your path. By embracing this mindset, you create a solid foundation for mastery, allowing you to achieve your goals with precision and purpose. So next time you find yourself tempted to add another tool to your collection or to take on an extra skill, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself if it's truly useful, if it aligns with your goals, and if it will contribute to your mastery. Embrace the simplicity and focus that Musashi championed, and watch how it transforms your journey towards achieving any goal you set your mind to. Number 6. Do not fear death. Alright, let's talk about do not fear death. At first glance, it might sound intense or even a bit dark, but stick with me, it's a game changer when it comes to mastering any goal. Imagine shedding the heavy cloak of fear that death often symbolizes. It's not about embracing mortality in a morbid way, but rather about freeing yourself from the paralyzing anxiety that holds you back. When you stop fearing death, something magical happens. Suddenly, you're not shackled by the what-ifs and the endless cycle of worrying about the end. Instead, you can channel that energy into what truly matters, your goals, your passions, your mastery. It's like clearing a fog from your mind, allowing you to see your path with crystal clarity. Without the constant shadow of fear, your focus sharpens, and your determination deepens. Think about it this way, fear of death can create an invisible barrier, a wall that separates you from taking bold steps. It whispers doubts and feeds insecurities, making even the simplest tasks seem daunting. But when you confront that fear head-on, you start to dismantle that barrier. It's not about denying death's reality, but about transforming your relationship with it. By doing so, you reclaim your power and redirect your focus toward growth and achievement. Embracing this mindset also cultivates a sense of urgency and purpose. When you're not constantly haunted by the fear of death, you begin to value each moment more deeply. Time becomes a precious resource, and you're more inclined to use it wisely. This heightened awareness can propel you forward, pushing you to seize opportunities and make the most of every day. It's like having a constant reminder to live fully and strive relentlessly for your goals. Moreover, not fearing death fosters resilience. Life is unpredictable, full of twists and turns that can throw you off balance. When death is no longer a looming threat, you become more adaptable, more capable of handling whatever comes your way. Challenges no longer seem insurmountable because you approach them with a calm and steady mind. This resilience is key to mastery, as it allows you to bounce back from setbacks and keep moving forward with unwavering determination. There's also a liberating aspect to this philosophy. Free from the chains of death anxiety, you're free to explore, experiment, and innovate without the constant fear of failure. It opens up a space where creativity can flourish, where you're not afraid to take risks or make mistakes. This fearless exploration is essential for mastering any craft, as it encourages you to push boundaries and discover new possibilities. On a deeper level, not fearing death aligns you with a profound sense of purpose. It encourages you to look beyond the temporary and focus on the lasting impact you want to make. Whether it's honing a skill, building something meaningful, or leaving a legacy, this fearless approach drives you to pursue excellence with unwavering commitment. It's about understanding that your time is limited, and therefore, every effort you put in is a step towards something greater. This mindset also nurtures a sense of peace and contentment. When death is no longer a source of fear, it becomes a natural part of life's journey. This acceptance allows you to live more authentically, without the constant pressure of looming mortality. You become more present, more engaged with the here and now, which is where true mastery begins. It's in this present moment that you can fully invest yourself in your pursuits, giving them the attention and passion they deserve. Ultimately, do not fear death is about embracing life with all its uncertainties and possibilities. It's a call to live boldly, to pursue your goals with vigor, and to master your craft without the weight of fear holding you back. By letting go of the fear of death, you open yourself up to a world of endless potential, where your focus is solely on growth, achievement, and the pursuit of excellence. So, next time you feel that nagging fear creeping in, remember this rule. Let it be a reminder to live freely, to chase your dreams with everything you've got, and to master your path without hesitation. Embrace the philosophy of not fearing death, and watch how it transforms your approach to life and mastery. It's not about ignoring the end, but about empowering yourself to live fully and achieve greatness along the way. Number 7, respect the gods and Buddhas, but do not rely on them. Alright, let's unpack this intriguing idea from Miyamoto Musashi: respect the gods and Buddhas, but do not rely on them. At first blush, it might seem like a delicate balancing act, almost like walking a tightrope between faith and self-reliance. But there's a deeper wisdom here that can really reshape how we approach our goals and personal growth. Imagine for a moment that respect is like a foundation stone. You honor and acknowledge the higher powers, the gods, the Buddhas, not as distant, detached figures, but as part of the intricate tapestry of life. This respect isn't about seeking permission or expecting intervention. It's more about recognizing the bigger picture, understanding that there are forces and energies beyond our immediate control. It's a nod to something greater, something that gives context to our journey without dictating the path we take. Now, shifting gears to the second part, do not rely on them. This is where the real empowerment kicks in. Musashi is essentially telling us to take ownership of our actions and decisions. It's about stepping into the driver's seat of your own life. When you rely on external forces, there's a risk of passivity, waiting for things to happen instead of making them happen. Musashi's advice nudges us towards active participation, where our efforts, strategies, and resilience become the primary engines driving us forward. But how do you maintain respect without slipping into dependency? It's a subtle art. Think of it as appreciating the sun. You acknowledge its role in making life possible, but you don't sit around waiting for it to shine every day. Similarly, respecting the gods and Buddhas is about honoring the spiritual and philosophical frameworks that provide meaning and guidance. It's about drawing inspiration and strength from these beliefs, but not letting them become crutches that you lean on when things get tough. This approach fosters a sense of inner strength and confidence. When you're not waiting for divine intervention, you cultivate your own skills, make thoughtful decisions, and build resilience. It's like honing your own craftsmanship. You respect the tools and materials, understanding their importance, but you rely on your hands and creativity to shape them into something meaningful. This blend of respect and self-reliance creates a powerful synergy that fuels mastery. Musashi's perspective also touches on personal responsibility. By not relying on external forces, you take full accountability for your actions and their outcomes. This mindset shift is crucial for growth. It encourages proactive behavior, where you seek solutions, embrace challenges, and learn from setbacks. Instead of attributing success or failure to higher powers, you recognize your role in shaping your destiny. This sense of ownership is liberating and motivating, pushing you to strive for excellence. Moreover, this balance between respect and self-reliance nurtures humility. Acknowledging that there are greater forces at play fosters a sense of modesty and openness. It reminds you that while you are in control of your actions, there are always elements beyond your grasp. This humility can prevent arrogance, keeping you grounded and open to learning. It's a gentle reminder that mastery is a continuous journey, not a destination where you stand alone atop a pedestal. There's also a philosophical depth to this principle. It echoes the idea of synergy between the spiritual and the practical. Respecting the gods and Buddhas aligns you with a broader sense of purpose and ethical grounding, while not relying on them empowers you to take concrete steps towards your goals. It's a harmonious blend of faith and action, where each complements the other without overshadowing it. In the pursuit of mastery, this principle serves as a compass. It guides you to honor your beliefs and values, drawing strength and inspiration from them. At the same time, it urges you to cultivate your own abilities, make deliberate choices, and persist through adversity. It's about finding that sweet spot where reverence and responsibility coexist, each enhancing the other. So, as you navigate your path towards achieving any goal, keep Musashi's wisdom in mind. Respect the gods and Buddhas, acknowledging the larger forces at play, but don't lean on them to carry you. Instead, harness that respect to fuel your own efforts, strategies, and growth. It's a dance of honor and self-empowerment, leading you towards true mastery. Embrace this balance, and watch how it transforms not just your goals, but your entire approach to life. Number 8. You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain. Alright, let's unpack this idea. You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain. At first glance, it might seem pretty straightforward, but when you dig deeper, there's a wealth of wisdom here, especially when viewed through Miyamoto Musashi's perspective on mastery. Picture this: everyone has their own unique journey. No two paths are exactly alike, even if the destination is the same. Musashi wasn't one to follow the crowd or stick to a single way of doing things. He knew that rigidity can be a real obstacle on the road to mastery. By embracing the idea that multiple paths can lead to success, you open yourself up to flexibility and creativity. It's like having a toolbox with various tools, each suited for different tasks. Why limit yourself to just one tool when you can choose the best one for each situation? Think about the mountain metaphor. The mountain represents your ultimate goal, whatever that may be. Now, imagine there are countless trails leading to its peak. Some are steep and challenging, others winding and scenic. Musashi understood that different people have different strengths, weaknesses, and preferences. What works for one person might not work for another. So, why stick to a single path when there are so many ways to reach the top? This principle is all about personalization. Mastery isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. It's deeply personal and unique to each individual. Musashi's teachings encourage you to find the path that aligns best with your own skills, mindset, and circumstances. It's about carving out your own route rather than trying to replicate someone else's journey. This approach not only makes the process more enjoyable but also more effective because it's tailored to you. Moreover, embracing multiple paths fosters resilience. When you're too fixated on one way to achieve your goal, you become vulnerable if that path becomes blocked or proves ineffective. Musashi knew that adaptability is key. If one route gets too difficult or simply doesn't work, having the flexibility to switch to another path ensures that you keep moving forward. It's like having a backup plan without the stress of always being prepared for the unexpected. There's also an element of exploration here. When you recognize that there are multiple ways to reach the top, you're more likely to experiment and discover new techniques or strategies. This spirit of exploration keeps the journey interesting and can lead to breakthroughs you might not have encountered if you were stuck on a single path. Musashi's own life was a testament to this, always learning, always adapting, never settling for one way of doing things. Another layer to this is the concept of balance. Different paths might require different skills or mindsets. Some might demand patience and persistence, while others might call for boldness and quick thinking. By understanding that there's more than one path, you can develop a more well-rounded skill set. Musashi emphasized the importance of being versatile, and this principle supports that by encouraging you to embrace various approaches and techniques. Let's also consider the psychological aspect. Knowing that there are multiple paths to your goal can alleviate the pressure and frustration that come with setbacks. It shifts your perspective from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, you view them as opportunities to try a different route. This positive outlook can significantly impact your motivation and overall progress. Musashi's wisdom here is timeless. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in following the latest trends or sticking rigidly to traditional methods. But true mastery requires the courage to forge your own path and the wisdom to know that there's no single right way. It's about finding what works best for you and being open to change and innovation along the way. So, when you're climbing your own mountain, remember that the summit is accessible through various trails. Embrace the diversity of paths, trust in your ability to choose the right one, and stay open to adjusting your course as needed. Musashi's insight teaches us that mastery isn't about following a prescribed route, but about understanding the landscape and navigating it in a way that's uniquely yours. In the end, recognizing that there are multiple paths to the top empowers you to take control of your journey. It's a reminder that your path to mastery is your own, shaped by your experiences, choices, and the wisdom you gather along the way. So, go ahead and explore those different trails. Each step you take is a part of your unique journey to achieving any goal you set your mind to. Number 9. Be focused on the task at hand. Let's dive into the idea of being focused on the task at hand. It's one of those concepts that sounds simple but holds immense power when truly embraced. Picture this: your mind isn't scattered across 1,000 thoughts, worries, or plans. Instead, it's zeroed in on what you're doing right now, fully immersed and present. It's like tuning into a single frequency amidst a sea of noise, allowing you to operate at your peak. When you're focused, everything else fades into the background. Distractions lose their grip, and your energy is channeled into the task, making your actions more deliberate and effective. It's not just about ignoring interruptions. It's about creating a mental space where your attention is undivided. This kind of focus transforms the way you approach your work, making each step more intentional and meaningful. Think about the flow of getting lost in something you love. That's the essence of being focused on the task at hand. It's about finding that sweet spot where your skills meet the challenge, and time seems to stand still. In this state, you're not just working, you're creating, building, and pushing the boundaries of what you can achieve. It's a powerful place where mastery begins to take shape. Maintaining focus requires a certain level of discipline, but it's not about forcing yourself to stay on track. Instead, it's about cultivating habits that naturally support your concentration. Whether it's setting aside dedicated time, organizing your environment, or simply taking a moment to breathe before diving in, these small practices can make a world of difference. They help create a rhythm that keeps your mind aligned with your goals. There's also a beauty in simplicity when you focus on the task at hand. By stripping away the unnecessary, you allow clarity to emerge. Decisions become easier because you're not overcomplicating things with extraneous thoughts. It's like clearing a foggy window to see the path ahead more clearly. This clarity not only enhances your performance but also makes the process more enjoyable. Moreover, being focused fosters a deeper connection with what you're doing. It turns mundane tasks into opportunities for growth and learning. When your mind is fully engaged, you start to notice details you might have missed otherwise. This heightened awareness leads to a richer experience and a greater sense of accomplishment. It's about finding joy in the journey, not just the destination. But let's not forget, maintaining focus isn't always easy. Our brains are wired to wander, especially in today's world filled with endless stimuli. It takes conscious effort to bring your attention back whenever it drifts. However, each time you do, you're training your mind to become more resilient and disciplined. It's a continuous process, one that strengthens your ability to stay present and engaged over time. Another aspect to consider is the relationship between focus and passion. When you're genuinely interested in what you're doing, staying focused becomes more natural. It's that intrinsic motivation that keeps you anchored, even when distractions are tempting. Passion fuels your dedication, making it easier to dive deep into your work and maintain that state of flow. Being focused also means respecting the task and yourself. It's a commitment to give your best effort, to honor the time and energy you're investing. This respect creates a positive feedback loop, where the quality of your work improves, which in turn boosts your motivation and focus. It's a cycle that propels you forward, helping you achieve higher levels of mastery. In the grand scheme, being focused on the task at hand is about embracing the present moment. It's recognizing that the now is where your power lies, where you can make the most significant impact. By fully engaging with what you're doing, you tap into a source of creativity and efficiency that can propel you toward your goals with remarkable speed and precision. So, next time you find your mind wandering or your energy scattered, remind yourself of the power of focus. Take a deep breath, center your thoughts, and immerse yourself in the task before you. It's not always easy, but the rewards are well worth the effort. Embracing this principle can transform the way you work, live, and achieve mastery in any area you choose to pursue. Number 10. Keep yourself in the way of perfection. Alright, let's delve into this fascinating concept from Miyamoto Musashi. Keep yourself in the way of perfection. At first glance, it might sound like chasing an impossible ideal, but there's so much more depth to it. Musashi wasn't talking about flawless execution or never making mistakes. Instead, he was highlighting a mindset, a relentless pursuit of becoming better every single day. Imagine for a second that perfection isn't a destination but a journey. It's not about reaching some end point where everything is just right, but about continuously moving forward, refining yourself along the way. Keeping yourself in the way of perfection means embracing this ongoing process. It's about setting a high bar for yourself, not to burden yourself, but to inspire constant growth and improvement. Musashi's idea here is deeply rooted in discipline and self-awareness. It's about recognizing your strengths and weaknesses and actively working on them. Think of it as a never-ending quest where you're always seeking to polish your skills, deepen your knowledge, and enhance your character. This pursuit keeps you engaged, motivated, and always striving to be better than you were yesterday. But let's break it down a bit more. What does it really mean to keep yourself in the way of perfection? It's about maintaining a balance between ambition and patience. You set your sights high, but you also understand that mastery takes time. There's no rush, no need to force things. It's a steady, consistent effort, where every small step contributes to the bigger picture of who you're becoming. Musashi also emphasizes the importance of adaptability in this pursuit. Perfection isn't a static goal, it evolves as you grow. What you strive for today might shift tomorrow, and that's perfectly okay. Keeping yourself in the way of perfection means staying flexible, open to change, and willing to adjust your path as needed. It's about being resilient in the face of setbacks and seeing them as opportunities to learn and improve. Another key aspect is mindfulness. To keep yourself on this path, you need to be present and fully engaged in whatever you're doing. It's about paying attention to the details, understanding the nuances, and being fully committed to the task at hand. This level of focus not only enhances your skills but also deepens your appreciation for the process itself. You start to find joy in the journey, not just in the outcomes. Now, let's talk about the mental and emotional side of things. Striving for perfection can sometimes lead to frustration or self-doubt, but Musashi's approach encourages a healthy relationship with these feelings. It's not about being harsh on yourself for not being perfect, it's about acknowledging your imperfections and using them as fuel for improvement. This mindset fosters a kind of self-compassion that keeps you motivated rather than discouraged. Moreover, keeping yourself in the way of perfection cultivates a strong sense of purpose. When you're constantly seeking to improve, you're always aligned with your goals and values. It gives your actions meaning and direction, ensuring that every effort you make is purposeful and intentional. This alignment is crucial for achieving mastery because it keeps you focused and driven even when things get tough. There's also a creative element to this pursuit. By striving for perfection, you open yourself up to innovation and new ideas. You're not just sticking to what you know, you're constantly exploring, experimenting, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. This creative drive not only enhances your skills but also keeps the process exciting and dynamic. In essence, keep yourself in the way of perfection is about fostering a mindset of continuous growth, resilience, and mindful engagement. It's a commitment to never settle, to always seek improvement, and to embrace the journey of becoming the best version of yourself. Musashi's wisdom here is timeless, reminding us that mastery is not a final achievement but a lifelong practice. So, as you work towards any goal, remember this principle. Let it guide you to maintain high standards, stay adaptable, and keep pushing forward with intention and passion. It's not about being perfect, it's about being on the path of perfection, constantly evolving and striving for excellence. Embrace this journey, and you'll find that mastery becomes not just an aspiration, but a natural outcome of your persistent efforts and unwavering dedication. Thank you for watching. If you found Miyamoto Musashi's rules for mastery inspiring, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Modern Stoic for more powerful life lessons. Remember, mastery isn't about rushing the process, it's about steady, intentional progress. Take these principles and apply them in your life today. Share your thoughts and how you're using Musashi's wisdom to achieve your goals in the comments below. Until next time, stay focused, stay disciplined, and keep mastering your path. Take care. Did you know that Miyamoto Musashi penned the Book of Five Rings after remaining undefeated in over 60 duels, an achievement that solidified him as one of history's greatest samurai? In this video, The Five Rings Explained, Secrets of Miyamoto Musashi, we're diving deep into the powerful philosophy that fueled his legendary success. From the Earth Scroll's practical foundations to the elusive void that unlocks your intuition, each ring holds a unique key to mastering not just combat, but also life's toughest challenges. Stick around until the end for insights on how to harness Musashi's strategic genius and apply it to your personal growth, relationships, and everyday decisions. Get ready to step into the mindset of a true warrior. Number 1. The Book of Earth. Let's dive into the Book of Earth, one of the central elements in the Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. It's not just about sword fighting. Musashi uses the earth to speak to a deeper understanding of life and personal mastery. The earth, in Musashi's framework, stands as a solid, foundational pillar. It's not some distant, abstract concept but something you can feel, something you can touch. The earth symbolizes the root of everything, the groundwork that holds up all else. And if we think about it, don't we all need that foundation to stand firm? When you read the Book of Earth, it's easy to assume that Musashi's simply speaking about physical things, the weight of the sword, the stability of stance, the connection to the ground beneath. But it's more than that. Musashi, like many great thinkers, understood that the true strength of a person comes from a place that's not visible, from an internal steadiness, a quiet force that remains unshaken no matter what chaos surrounds you. Imagine yourself as the earth, not swayed by the winds, not thrown off course by the forces of nature. That's the kind of centeredness Musashi is encouraging here. This book isn't about making you a perfect fighter, it's about making you a perfect being, someone who doesn't need to flinch when faced with challenges. Musashi teaches that being grounded isn't just a physical thing, it's a mental and spiritual thing too. It's about your ability to be present and unmovable, like the earth itself. Think of it this way, you don't see the earth panic when a storm hits, right? It just is. This unflinching quality, this calm that Musashi speaks of, is essential not just for warriors, but for anyone striving to move through life with clarity and purpose. In his own way, Musashi makes you reconsider the idea of groundedness. It's not just about standing firmly in one spot, rigid and unmoving. It's about having an awareness of what's around you, while remaining centered, clear-headed, and in control. It's easy to be swayed by circumstances, to get lost in distractions or in the noise of life. Musashi's earth, though, is a reminder to ground yourself in what's important, to avoid overthinking, and to understand that not everything requires a reaction. Not every force needs to be met with resistance. Sometimes, the earth just lets things be. One of the most powerful lessons from the Book of Earth is that you don't need to complicate things. In fact, simplicity is key. The earth is simple, isn't it? It doesn't boast, it doesn't rush, it just is. And Musashi encourages us to approach life with that same simplicity. We often make things harder than they need to be. The more we complicate, the further we drift from our true selves. By simplifying, by getting back to basics, we begin to understand the core of what Musashi is saying. Being connected to the earth, in this sense, also means understanding your environment and your circumstances. You don't fight against what's given to you, you work with it. Musashi didn't just use his sword to fight opponents, he used his mind to understand the battlefield, to anticipate movements, to read between the lines. The earth, as Musashi sees it, is not about brute force, it's about adapting, understanding, and embracing what's in front of you without forcing things to bend to your will. And let's not forget the metaphor of the earth in its broader context. Earth can also represent the deeper truths we hold, those aspects of ourselves that are buried, perhaps even hidden. To reach your potential, you have to dig through layers of conditioning and false beliefs. You have to clear away the debris. Just like the earth holds the bones of the past and the seed of the future, your inner earth holds your true potential. To access it, you need to stay grounded and trust the process, even when it feels like things aren't moving forward. Now, while Musashi's earth isn't about being static, it's about finding your balance and anchoring yourself in it. This principle plays out in everything you do. Whether you're building a skill, learning something new, or navigating life's twists and turns, you need that inner steadiness. It's the core confidence that allows you to stay present even when the stakes are high. Musashi might have been wielding a sword, but you can wield focus, determination, and clarity in your life with equal precision. At its core, the earth is about stability, and stability doesn't mean being rigid, it means being adaptable, yet grounded. It means not letting small disturbances throw you off course. It's not about avoiding challenges, but about staying true to yourself through them. Just like the earth, you have the capacity to absorb what comes your way, to remain whole, and to continue forward. And here's the beautiful part, the earth teaches you to see things as they are, not how you wish them to be. Musashi encourages you to be honest with yourself. No delusions. No distractions. It's easy to get caught up in illusions, whether it's about success, happiness, or the expectations we place on ourselves. But the earth doesn't lie. It doesn't distort reality. And that's the lesson. To live with clarity, to face everything with a level-headed perspective, and to take what life gives you with both humility and confidence. Musashi's earth reminds you that every battle, whether with an opponent or with yourself, is won through understanding your foundation. When you stand firm in your beliefs, your values, and your purpose, you're like the earth beneath your feet. And no storm, no distraction, can knock you over. To wrap it up, the Book of Earth is not just a lesson on swordsmanship, it's a call to live with steadiness, presence, and simplicity. It's an invitation to cultivate the kind of groundedness that allows you to face life with courage and clarity. Musashi isn't asking you to be perfect, he's asking you to be real. And in that authenticity, you'll find your strength. So, take a breath, center yourself, and let the earth's stability become your own. Number 2, the Book of Water. The Book of Water. Sounds like something mystical, doesn't it? Like it might have to do with ancient elemental powers or some sort of hidden wisdom passed down through the ages. But the truth is, Miyamoto Musashi's Book of Water is all about adaptability and fluidity. In a way, it's more down to earth than it first seems, yet it carries profound meaning that's deceptively simple on the surface. Let's take a step back and think about water for a moment. Water, in its purest form, is a force of nature. It's unpredictable, yet it always finds its way. It can be gentle, like a slow river meandering through a valley, or it can be powerful, like a violent ocean wave crashing against the rocks. It doesn't fight with what's in its path. It flows around obstacles, carving new paths, reshaping landscapes, never fighting, just flowing. Musashi, a master of the sword and the mind, uses water as a metaphor to teach one of the most important principles in his Book of Water: flexibility. Water isn't rigid. It doesn't stick to a set pattern. It moves according to the shape of its environment. This is the essence of the water element in Musashi's philosophy. Just as water takes the shape of whatever container it's in, a master swordsman, or really, a master of anything, must be able to adapt to their surroundings, adjusting their actions and mindset depending on the circumstances. It's all about finding harmony with what's around you instead of fighting against it. The idea of adapting isn't just about being physically flexible. Musashi is urging us to be flexible in our thinking, in our approach to life, and in how we react to challenges. We're not talking about avoiding confrontation or backing down from difficulty. Instead, it's about knowing when to shift your stance, to adjust your strategy, to not get too attached to one method or one way of doing things. You see, water doesn't cling to any single form, and neither should you. This concept speaks volumes when you're up against an opponent, whether in battle or in life. Imagine a confrontation. You can't approach it with a fixed mindset. If you do, you're going to miss the nuances of the situation. The moment you're too rigid, too set in your ways, you'll become vulnerable. Musashi's idea of the Book of Water teaches us to read the situation, to feel the rhythm of what's unfolding around us, and to adjust accordingly. Now, you might be wondering, what does all this talk about fluidity mean for us in everyday life? Well, think about it. In moments of stress, how often do we try to control every little detail, expecting things to follow a straight line? It's a natural impulse. We're conditioned to think that success comes from strict plans and rigid goals. But that's where Musashi's advice comes in handy. Life doesn't always go as planned. It never does. And when things don't go the way we expect, our frustration and stress come from trying to force life into a mold it refuses to fit. Instead, Musashi teaches us to flow like water, to adapt. When the road ahead is blocked, water doesn't stop, it finds a way around. When you face obstacles in your personal or professional life, being flexible allows you to remain calm, adjust your perspective, and find a new solution. You're not forcing things to bend to your will, you're allowing your will to bend with the flow of the situation. That's the real power of water, its ability to move with grace and purpose while remaining fluid and ever-changing. But Musashi doesn't stop there. In the Book of Water, he also touches on the idea of being aware of the broader environment you're in, much like water flowing through a river. The river doesn't just look at one rock, it assesses the entire landscape. It understands that its path is defined by the larger forces in play, and it moves in harmony with them. If it can't flow around an obstacle, it waits, it erodes, it finds a way. The lesson? Situational awareness. To be truly successful, whether in battle or in business, you need to understand the landscape you're in. You need to read the room, understand the environment, and adjust accordingly. Too often, we get so caught up in one strategy that we fail to notice the world around us changing. Musashi teaches us that to move like water is to always be aware, to observe, and to adjust our actions based on the constantly shifting dynamics. Here's where things get interesting. Musashi doesn't just talk about flowing with the current. He talks about mastering it. Water, while adaptable, also has power. Think about a river that carves through rock. It doesn't do so by force, but by persistence. Musashi's Book of Water isn't just a call for us to be passive or to avoid confrontation. Instead, it urges us to embody the qualities of water, always ready to adjust, always ready to shift, but also never losing the power to break through, to carve out a path when needed. Imagine being able to navigate every situation in your life like water navigating its course. You can take a step back, evaluate, and choose the best way forward, without the rigidity of preset outcomes. You're not just reacting to life, you're understanding the flow and learning how to move with it. Sometimes that means being soft, other times that means being firm, but it's always about choosing what the moment needs. If water had a fixed course, it would lose its power. Musashi's advice is about being able to change and grow as circumstances change. So, let's put this into a more personal context. Think about a project or goal you're working on. Perhaps you've got a vision for it, a plan laid out in your mind. But as time goes on, you encounter roadblocks, unexpected challenges, perhaps some setbacks. The temptation is to push forward with the original plan, to force things to go as you envision them. But like water, you might need to adjust. Maybe you need to take a step back, reevaluate, and move in a different direction. Or maybe you need to wait, to gather more resources, to build momentum. The key is to remain fluid. The original plan doesn't have to be the only way forward. Musashi understood that life is a fluid, changing experience. Whether in battle or in business, there are always new obstacles, new dynamics, new opportunities. And just like water, you must be able to move through them with ease, adjusting and adapting as you go. By doing so, you not only overcome the difficulties but also learn and grow stronger in the process. So the Book of Water isn't just about being passive. It's about embodying the wisdom of adaptability. It's about moving through life with a kind of grace and power that lets you navigate the unexpected without losing your center. And maybe that's the secret of Musashi's philosophy, to adapt like water, but to also carve your own path, leaving your mark on the world as you go. Number 3, the Book of Fire. The Book of Fire in Miyamoto Musashi's The Book of Five Rings isn't just a manual on how to wield a sword or defeat an opponent in battle. Musashi uses the fire element as a symbol of intense energy, directness, and transformation. Fire, in the world of the samurai, represents more than just destruction or heat. It embodies the essence of action, the burning desire to succeed, and the ability to create opportunities from seemingly impossible situations. And just like fire itself, Musashi's philosophy here isn't about playing it safe or seeking comfort. It's about forging ahead with force, decisiveness, and adaptability. When you read the Book of Fire, it feels almost like Musashi is telling you to embrace the energy that flows within you and use it to shape the world around you. It's about knowing when to strike, how to strike, and understanding that action itself is a form of creation. Fire can't be contained or controlled in the same way you might try to restrain your fear or hesitation. Instead, it moves in unpredictable ways, and Musashi wants you to recognize that unpredictability as a strength. He doesn't just want you to react to life, he wants you to become the fire that forces others to react to you. One of the most striking things about the Book of Fire is the way it encourages you to take initiative, to act swiftly and decisively, and to let your intentions burn bright. Musashi describes how fire is not just an external force but an internal one too. It's the passion and ambition that drive us to take risks, to leap before we look, and to charge into the unknown with everything we've got. But, as with fire, this energy needs to be carefully controlled. Too much, and it burns out of control; too little, and it fades away into nothing. Musashi was a master of balance, and that balance is key to harnessing the fire that's within you. The Book of Fire, in a sense, serves as a reminder that sometimes the most important thing is to simply act. We get bogged down in planning, overthinking, and waiting for the right moment. Fire doesn't wait. It burns regardless of what's in its path, leaving nothing untouched. Musashi teaches you to embrace that mentality, to act with clarity and precision. He talks about being aware and fully immersed in the moment, paying attention to the space around you and how you move through it. When you move with intention, you create your own momentum. Musashi wants you to become that fire, that unstoppable force that pushes through obstacles, burns away doubt, and leaves behind a path of transformation. However, fire isn't all destruction. There's creation in fire too. Musashi emphasizes that the fire is a means of refining yourself. Fire can forge weapons, clear the land for new growth, and provide warmth and light. It's a tool. When you go through intense situations, whether they're challenges, failures, or battles, you can either get consumed by the fire or learn to harness its energy and turn it into something new. It's like forging a sword in a forge. The process is hot, intense, and sometimes painful, but it results in something strong, sharp, and capable of cutting through anything. In many ways, Musashi uses fire to represent the idea of clarity. Fire's light illuminates everything in its path, revealing things that are otherwise hidden in the darkness. It forces you to see the truth, to confront what's in front of you without any distractions. In battle, this clarity can make all the difference. Musashi teaches that to truly understand your enemy, or to understand any situation, you must look beyond the surface. You must see things as they really are, without illusion. The fire reveals that truth, and it's this burning clarity that allows you to make bold, effective decisions. Another important aspect of fire in Musashi's philosophy is its dual nature. Fire can warm you, but it can also burn you if you're not careful. This ties back into the concept of mastery. Musashi wasn't just interested in teaching you how to act. He wanted you to understand the principles behind those actions. Fire is a great teacher, but it's a teacher that demands respect. Musashi stresses that, in order to fully harness the fire of action, you need discipline, strategy, and control. It's not enough to be driven by passion alone. Without careful consideration, that passion can destroy you. This also reflects the idea that fire is about timing. The right amount of heat at the right moment can change everything. Musashi speaks of fire as a force that can transform your path, but only when used at the right moment. The key is knowing when to act and when to hold back. Fire doesn't always need to rage. It can be a subtle, controlled burn that is just as powerful, but in a different way. Sometimes, fire can build slowly, and it's that slow, steady burn that can lead to greater success. Finally, fire in the Book of Fire represents the process of continuous growth. You can never control fire completely, and in that way, it's like the journey of self-improvement. It's ever-evolving, always changing. As you face new challenges, you have to adjust your tactics, adapt, and remain fluid. Musashi teaches you that mastery isn't a static goal, it's a continuous process of refinement and adjustment. Just like fire, you need to keep stoking your inner flame, fueling it with new knowledge, new experiences, and new challenges. The moment you stop burning is the moment you begin to fade. Musashi's Book of Fire isn't about reckless aggression or thoughtless action. It's about understanding the nature of fire itself, the way it can either consume you or empower you, and learning to wield that energy to its fullest potential. Fire, in the end, is an invitation to awaken that dormant power inside you, to ignite your own inner fire and to use it to shape your destiny. The fire that burns in you can either build or destroy, depending on how you choose to channel it. Number 4, the Book of Wind. Alright, let's talk about the Book of Wind, another pivotal chapter in Musashi's The Five Rings. This one's a little trickier than the Book of Earth, and I think that's where it gets interesting. Musashi uses the wind to explain something that seems simple on the surface but is way more complex when you start to peel back the layers. It's like the air itself, something we can't see, but we definitely feel its effects. Wind represents the world around us, the influences, the strategies, the ideas that swirl and shift in ways that are often beyond our immediate control. And just like wind, those outside forces can guide or disrupt us if we're not careful. Now, Musashi isn't just talking about external winds here, but also the winds within, a person's internal battles with influence, ego, and the constant pull of external expectations. The Book of Wind is where Musashi gets into the psychology of combat and living, showing us how we should not only understand the forces of the world around us, but learn how to interact with them, without being overwhelmed. Let's dive into it. When you read through the Book of Wind, it's not just about responding to your environment. It's about understanding what's going on in the world and then using that knowledge for your own advantage. Imagine the wind as this invisible current of influence. You don't always know exactly where it's coming from or where it'll go, but you can feel its pull. If you're aware, you can use that wind to guide you. If you're not, it might blow you off course. In Musashi's world, the Book of Wind points to understanding the strategies of others, especially your opponents. It's about recognizing their tactics, their patterns, and how they might be influenced by the external forces of their environment. Everyone has their own wind, their personal set of beliefs, biases, fears, and desires that shape how they act. If you know how to recognize these patterns, you can use them to predict their next move. It's almost like catching the wind, understanding its direction, and using that to steer your own course. But here's the catch: just as the wind is unpredictable, so too is the world. People are unpredictable. Even the best strategies can fail if you don't have the awareness to adjust in real time. Musashi warns that if you rely too heavily on what others do, if you follow the winds of the crowd, you lose your individuality. You become part of the flow instead of controlling it. The moment you get caught up in someone else's winds, you stop thinking for yourself, and you're no longer in control. That's where it gets tricky. It's not just about outsmarting your opponent, it's about outsmarting yourself. It's about recognizing when your own internal winds, your own impulses, reactions, or emotions, are steering you off course. Musashi talks about the danger of being too caught up in the winds of other people's opinions, expectations, or outside noise. This is a huge one for anyone living in a world where opinions are loud, where there's pressure to fit in or follow trends. Musashi is telling you to listen to the wind, but never let it decide where you go. Don't just get blown around by the storm. You need to know when to go with it and when to stand firm. So, Musashi isn't just teaching you about reacting to the winds of others, he's also teaching you how to create your own wind. To make your own path, to not be swept along by the tide of conformity or external pressure. The wind can be a tool or an enemy. If you let it dictate your moves, you're constantly in flux, never stable. But if you understand it, use it, and bend it to your will, it can become part of your strategy. Musashi calls this mastering the wind. You make the forces around you work for you rather than against you. In this book, Musashi also talks a lot about timing and rhythm. Think of wind as this invisible force that flows around you, always changing. It can be gentle or ferocious, but the key to navigating it is recognizing its subtle shifts. Timing is everything. The best warriors, the best decision makers, know when to act with the wind and when to wait for the right moment. They can feel it, when it's time to push forward and when it's time to hang back. And much like wind, your decisions need to be fluid. When you're trying to move with the world, you don't want to make rash, predictable moves. Sometimes, the best course of action is to wait for the wind to pick up or die down, and then strike with precision. The idea of using the wind is also about adaptability. Just as wind doesn't blow in one direction for too long, your strategy shouldn't be fixed. Things change. The world moves in cycles. Musashi urges you to be adaptable, to shift your approach when circumstances change. If you're stuck in a rigid mindset, thinking there's only one way to achieve your goal, you're going to get blindsided. The winds of life are constantly changing, and those who can't change with them will find themselves stuck, unable to move forward. But what about the wind that blows inside of us? We often talk about the internal struggle, the way our thoughts and emotions can derail our actions. That's where Musashi's teachings on the wind become really interesting. Our own inner winds, the doubts, the overconfidence, the distractions, can be just as disruptive as any external force. The key is learning to calm those internal winds, to quiet the noise in your head long enough to hear the clarity you need to act. The calmer you are inside, the more aware you become of the outside world and how to respond to it. A quiet mind is like a still air, clear and open. The wind also symbolizes the unpredictable nature of things. No matter how much you plan, no matter how perfectly you execute your strategy, there's always an element of chaos, always something you can't control. Life has a way of throwing curveballs, and the wind reminds us of that uncertainty. Musashi doesn't give you a clear-cut answer to control everything, but rather teaches you how to manage the unpredictable. He asks you to remain aware and alert, to always be ready to adapt when life takes its unexpected turns. So, in summary, the Book of Wind is about understanding the influences around you, both external and internal. It's about knowing how to read the currents, feel the direction, and then, when the time is right, make your move. But it's also a reminder that you need to stay grounded, not let the winds carry you off course. Use the forces around you to guide you, but never lose your center. The wind can be a tool, a challenge, or a reflection of your inner world. It's all about how you interact with it. And in that, Musashi is teaching you not just to survive the storm, but to dance with it. Number 5, the Book of Void. The Book of Void. It's one of the most elusive and mysterious chapters in Miyamoto Musashi's The Book of Five Rings. While the other books focus on tangible concepts like strategy, water, fire, and earth, things you can touch, feel, and apply, the Book of Void seems to speak to something more abstract, something harder to pin down. It's not about what you can see or measure, but about what you can't see. Musashi invites us to explore what lies beyond the obvious, in the emptiness between the lines, in the spaces that we often overlook. The void is that realm where understanding comes not from the mind, but from the soul. At its core, the void represents the idea of emptiness, not emptiness as in a lack of something, but emptiness as a state of infinite potential. It's like a blank canvas, a space before anything is created. And this emptiness is key to Musashi's philosophy. It's not just a concept, it's a way of seeing the world that allows us to move beyond our usual patterns of thinking and acting. But what does Musashi mean by the void? To him, it's the place where pure understanding resides. It's where you aren't clouded by distractions, preconceptions, or ego. It's where everything becomes clear, yet nothing is fixed. It's paradoxical, isn't it? The more you think you understand the void, the further it slips from your grasp. It's a concept that's difficult to explain with words, which is why Musashi focuses on it in such a mysterious way. The void is not something you can get intellectually. Instead, it's something you experience. So, let's try to break this down a bit. Picture a moment when everything slows down. The noise of the world, the clutter of your thoughts, it all fades away. Suddenly, There's a kind of stillness, a clarity that washes over you. In that moment, you might feel as though you're in touch with something bigger, something beyond the usual chaos of life. This moment of calm is a taste of the void. In the void, things are not defined. There are no labels, no judgments. There's just the present, untainted by your usual mental filters. It's not about thinking or analyzing, but about being. It's a state of pure awareness. But Musashi doesn't just leave it there. He challenges us to step further into the void and embrace its vast potential. To him, understanding the void means moving beyond dualities. We're so used to categorizing everything in our lives, good and bad, light and dark, success and failure. These categories give us structure, but they also limit us. They trap us in patterns of thinking that prevent us from seeing the bigger picture. The void, on the other hand, isn't constrained by these opposites. In the void, everything simply is. Imagine for a second that you've been boxing yourself in with rigid ideas and expectations. Perhaps you've been thinking, I can only achieve X if I do Y. Or, this is who I am, and this is how things are. But then you come across the void, and all of a sudden, that narrow box disappears. You realize that your past actions don't define you. You don't have to cling to old patterns or ways of thinking. You're free to redefine yourself, to embrace what's new and unknown. The void represents freedom from these mental constraints. But here's where it gets tricky. While the void is about freedom, it's also about discipline. Musashi is asking us to not only acknowledge this emptiness, but to live within it with purpose. The paradox is that the void requires both awareness of nothingness and the ability to act within it. It's not about becoming passive or doing nothing. Rather, it's about acting with a mind free of clutter, unburdened by attachment or overthinking. It's like being in the flow of a river that has no fixed direction. There's no forceful pushing, no struggle against the current. You're simply in it, moving with it, without needing to control or manipulate it. In the world of combat, this idea of void translates to a kind of fluid action, where you're not thinking about each move in advance, but responding naturally and instinctively. Musashi talks about moving so freely, with so little resistance, that you're able to see the gaps in your opponent's strategy before they even form. You act without hesitation because your mind isn't weighed down by indecision or attachment. You're not thinking this will work or I need to do this next, you're just doing. You become the void, a space in which action arises from the purest form of awareness. When Musashi talks about void, he's also talking about freedom from attachment, not just to outcomes but to expectations. The need for control, for knowing how everything will unfold, ties us to a certain way of thinking. It's exhausting, and it's limiting. The void teaches us to let go of this need to control. Instead of striving to reach a specific outcome, we allow ourselves to act in the present, responding to each moment as it comes. You might be thinking, okay, so if the void is about being free and acting with clarity, how do I actually get there? And that's the beauty of it. Musashi doesn't give you a step-by-step guide because the void isn't something that can be controlled, planned, or manipulated. It's an experience, not an achievement. To enter the void is to let go of the constant pressure to figure it out. You don't need to understand everything right away. You don't need to have all the answers. The void is about sitting with uncertainty, trusting that you don't have to know everything in advance. And that trust? That's where the true power of the void lies. It's tempting to want to make sense of it all. After all, in a world that's so noisy and fast-paced, it feels almost impossible to embrace the idea of letting go. But the void calls on us to do exactly that, to let go. Not to give up, but to embrace emptiness as a space of infinite possibility, rather than something to be feared or avoided. The more we learn to act without clinging to our old expectations, the more we align ourselves with this powerful concept. What does this all mean for you and me? How do we use the void in our everyday lives? Well, it's less about finding a specific formula and more about living with the awareness that emptiness is not empty at all. It's full of potential, full of freedom, full of possibility. It's about going into each moment with a clear mind, unclouded by preconceived notions, unburdened by stress or anxiety, ready to act without hesitation. And, just like Musashi says, it's about living without attachment to the outcome, simply moving with what is, allowing yourself to flow like water through life's vast ocean. In the end, the void is not just a concept in Musashi's book, it's a reminder that true mastery comes from within, from the ability to let go of the need for certainty and instead embrace the mystery of what's to come. The void isn't an absence, it's a presence. And in that presence lies the key to profound freedom and mastery. Did you know that Miyamoto Musashi, undefeated samurai and author of the Book of Five Rings, believed that one's moral code was just as crucial as battlefield prowess? In the Warrior's Code, applying Miyamoto Musashi's ethics today, we'll explore the guiding principles that shaped this legendary warrior's life, and show you how to use them to strengthen your own integrity, discipline, and purpose. Stay with me until the end, because once you discover how Musashi blended ethics with mastery, you'll have the tools to navigate modern challenges with the unwavering spirit of a true samurai. Number 1. Commit to continuous self-improvement. When we think about self-improvement, it's easy to imagine it as a destination, some far-off place you'll eventually arrive at once you've crossed a finish line. But Musashi didn't think like that. To him, self-improvement wasn't a matter of reaching some final level of mastery, it was a never-ending journey. It was like constantly polishing a sword, making sure it was sharper, more precise with every stroke. If you want to truly live by the Warrior's Code, that's the mindset you need to adopt. It's about always pushing forward, no matter how small the steps. Self-improvement is all about finding your flaws, acknowledging them, and never being content with your current state. Musashi didn't just seek to become a master of swordsmanship, he aimed to master his entire existence. Every action, every thought, and every moment had to be aligned with this relentless drive for growth. The same applies to us today. We live in an era where distractions are endless, and it's tempting to settle for mediocrity, thinking, good enough is enough. But that attitude will get you nowhere. This idea of continuous growth means you need to be aware of your weaknesses. It's about knowing that every time you think you've conquered a challenge, there's another one waiting for you. Musashi would tell you not to rest on your laurels. You should never stop questioning yourself. What did you do today that could have been done better? What's something you've been ignoring or putting off that, if tackled head-on, could make all the difference? In the life of a warrior, whether on the battlefield or in everyday life, there's no room for complacency. Now, this isn't to say that every day needs to be about grinding yourself down to exhaustion. Self-improvement doesn't mean punishing yourself for every perceived failure. In fact, Musashi also understood the value of balance. A warrior knows when to push and when to rest, when to reflect and when to act. It's the art of honing yourself in a way that keeps your spirit and body sharp without breaking them. So, commit to improvement, but don't get trapped in the illusion that you need to be better than everyone else or that you need to be perfect in every way. The only comparison you need is with the version of yourself from yesterday. This process requires self-discipline, something that Musashi valued deeply. In his writings, you can almost hear his voice, urging you to stay focused and keep your mind from wandering. Imagine the power in knowing exactly where you need to be and what you need to do every moment. Not getting distracted by the noise, but instead zeroing in on the one thing that will elevate you. It's a practice that stretches beyond just learning skills. It's about refining your entire life, becoming more aware of your thoughts, your actions, and your relationships with others. And here's the real kicker: self-improvement, when approached with the right mindset, becomes a source of deep satisfaction. you'll start to feel a quiet pride in your progress, no matter how incremental. Because as Musashi would say, it's not about reaching a final destination, it's about becoming better with each step. The pursuit itself is the reward. So, if you want to live according to the warrior's code, think of self-improvement as something you embrace every single day. Get used to being uncomfortable in the pursuit of bettering yourself, and be comfortable with the fact that the journey doesn't have a clear end. There will always be room to grow, and that's what makes life, and the path of the warrior, so incredibly powerful. Number 2, honor discipline and respect. Honor, discipline, and respect, these aren't just words to toss around, they're the foundation of how someone lives a life of value, purpose, and integrity. When we look at the teachings of Miyamoto Musashi, these principles stand at the core of his personal code. But what do they really mean for us, especially in a world that can sometimes seem to be running at full speed without giving us time to catch our breath? First, let's talk about honor. Musashi viewed honor not as something to flaunt or use to manipulate others, but as something deeply internal, something you carry within yourself. Honor isn't about the title you wear, the status you claim, or the accolades you receive. It's about being true to your word, holding your actions to a higher standard, and understanding that every decision you make reflects who you are. Imagine this, you don't need anyone's approval because the approval you seek is from yourself. You honor your word, you honor your path, and you honor the lessons that shape you. But it's not easy. To live in a way that honors your principles often means choosing the harder path, the one that requires more work, more patience, and a bit of discomfort. Musashi understood this well. His life was full of challenges, and he didn't shy away from them. He took on fights that others wouldn't dare, not because he loved the violence, but because he understood that true honor comes from facing life's toughest moments head-on. Now, let's dive into discipline. The word can feel a bit heavy sometimes, as if it's a strict set of rules that keep you in line. But discipline, in Musashi's eyes, isn't about rigidity or control, it's about freedom through structure. Think about it, when you give yourself the discipline to practice, to refine your skills, to keep learning, you create the freedom to be your best self. It's through discipline that you sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, and build the resilience to face whatever comes your way. Discipline is like the backbone of the warrior's spirit. It's the repeated actions that create mastery. Whether it's training your mind to stay focused or committing yourself to the long grind, discipline isn't a one-time thing. It's something you live with every day. Sure, there are days when you don't feel like doing the work, when the bed feels warmer than the battlefield. But that's the test. Discipline isn't about doing what's easy, it's about doing what's necessary even when the comfort of laziness is calling your name. And then there's respect. Musashi wasn't the type to preach about respect in the conventional sense. His respect wasn't about showing deference or reverence to people simply because of their status. Instead, it was a deeper respect, respect for the world, respect for the challenges you face, and respect for yourself. When you respect something, you acknowledge its worth and its place in the larger scheme of things. Respect is about seeing things as they are, not as you wish them to be. It's understanding that every person, every situation, every challenge has something to teach you. And it's through respect that you elevate your interactions. You respect others not because they've earned it, but because you know that, in the grand scheme of things, we're all walking a different path and facing our own battles. But here's the thing, respect isn't just about how you treat others. It starts with how you treat yourself. If you can't respect yourself, how can you give it to anyone else? And this isn't about ego or self-centeredness. It's about recognizing your own worth and acknowledging that you deserve the same honor and respect you give to others. When you combine honor, discipline, and respect, you create a life that's not only successful but meaningful. Musashi knew this. He lived it. Each of these values is a thread in the fabric of the warrior's code, weaving a life that's grounded in purpose, strength, and understanding. It's not about being perfect, it's about committing to growth, to learning, and to living with integrity, no matter what life throws at you. And when you take these principles to heart, they don't just make you a better person, they make you a warrior in the truest sense. Number 3. Pursue mastery, not perfection. Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary swordsman and strategist, didn't chase perfection, and yet, he became one of the most revered figures in history. His wisdom, recorded in the Book of Five Rings, shows us that mastery, true mastery, requires a pursuit of continuous improvement, not some unreachable, idealized standard of flawlessness. The difference between mastery and perfection is huge, and understanding this difference is key to any serious growth, whether it's in skill, mindset, or life itself. Let's talk about the concept of perfection first. Perfection sounds nice, doesn't it? It's that shiny ideal that people often imagine as the ultimate goal, something that's flawless, polished to an extent that no one can touch it. But in reality, it's more of a mirage than a real destination. You might aim for perfection, but it's like trying to touch the horizon. The closer you get, the farther it moves away. And that's the problem. Perfection keeps you in a state of chasing, never really achieving. You're constantly striving, yet you feel like you're not moving forward. Now, compare that to the idea of mastery. Mastery is about understanding and applying principles over time, consistently learning, and, most importantly, accepting that growth comes with setbacks, mistakes, and challenges. It's not about showing the world a polished, flawless version of yourself, but becoming so skilled and refined in a craft or skill that you make it look effortless. Musashi's life wasn't about perfect swordsmanship, it was about relentless, disciplined practice, applying what worked, discarding what didn't, and constantly refining his approach. There's something deeply freeing about embracing mastery over perfection. When you pursue mastery, you're more focused on the journey than the destination. You begin to embrace failure as part of the learning process. Each failure doesn't feel like a step backward, but rather a lesson that brings you closer to your goal. This mindset takes away the pressure of being perfect, allowing you to explore more freely, to experiment, to push boundaries, and to grow organically. The pursuit of perfection, on the other hand, can freeze you in place. You start doubting yourself at every turn because you're too fixated on getting things just right. This might lead to paralysis by analysis, where you end up doing nothing at all out of fear that it won't be perfect. You hesitate. You second guess. And in doing so, you stop making progress. Mastery isn't about getting everything right from the start. It's about committing to the long haul, improving a little bit each day. You might make mistakes, but over time, these mistakes build into something far more valuable: wisdom. Musashi was a master not because he never lost, but because he learned from every duel, every encounter, and every experience. Each lesson was an opportunity to sharpen his skills, to adapt, and to become better. And let's not forget that pursuing mastery gives you the freedom to define your own success. It's not about some external standards set by others, but about continuously pushing your own boundaries, constantly evolving. You're the one setting the bar, and you decide how high you want to reach. There's a sense of fulfillment that comes with that. Mastery isn't about impressing others or fitting into some mold. It's about pushing yourself to a point where you no longer recognize the person you were yesterday. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of perfection, especially with the pressure of social media, where only the best versions of people are often on display. But Musashi's approach reminds us that life isn't about appearing perfect to others, it's about refining ourselves from the inside out. It's a much more personal, much more fulfilling journey. So, next time you feel the urge to be perfect, remember this: you're better off aiming for mastery instead. Let go of the need to be flawless, and focus on getting better, one step at a time. You'll be amazed at how much more progress you make, how much more joy you'll find in the process, and how much closer you'll get to the true essence of greatness. Number 4. Live with integrity and honesty. Integrity and honesty are often tossed around like buzzwords, things we know we should value but don't always take the time to really think through. Musashi, though, had a sharp, unyielding view of these traits, and he didn't just talk about them, he lived them in every sense. To him, integrity wasn't just about following rules or telling the truth, it was a matter of aligning your actions with your deepest values, even when no one is looking. It was about being authentic in a world that constantly tried to pull you in different directions. When you live with integrity, you're not pretending to be someone you're not. You don't wear a mask to fit in or act in ways that go against what you know is right. Musashi's idea of honesty wasn't just about being truthful with others, but about being brutally honest with yourself. How often do we lie to ourselves, telling ourselves we're fine when we're not, or convincing ourselves we've done enough when we haven't? Musashi's code would never allow for that kind of self-deception. He demanded total transparency, not just with the world around you, but with your own heart and mind. Honesty isn't just about saying the right words, it's about living them. Imagine, for a moment, that your every action, your words, your decisions, your gestures, were a reflection of who you truly are. That's the power of living with integrity. There's no contradiction between your inner world and the outer world you present. You don't need to justify yourself to others because you've already justified your actions in your own mind. In the life of a warrior, there's no room for pretense or lies. Every decision you make must be rooted in truth, no shortcuts, no hiding. One of the toughest things about living with integrity, though, is that it requires a certain kind of courage. It's not always the easiest path. It's easy to bend the truth to fit a narrative, to take a shortcut that saves face or makes things easier in the moment. But Musashi's ethics demand something more. To truly live with integrity, you've got to be willing to face the uncomfortable truths about yourself, your actions, and your relationships. It means owning up to your mistakes and not making excuses, even when it would be easier to blame others or deflect responsibility. It means standing firm in your values, even when the world around you is trying to pull you in a different direction. But here's the thing, living with integrity doesn't make you perfect. In fact, the very nature of integrity is that you are continually checking yourself, questioning whether your actions are in line with your values. The warrior knows that perfection is an illusion. Musashi didn't claim to be flawless. He understood that mistakes and failures were a part of the process, but what mattered was that you faced them honestly. You learn from them, and you commit to doing better next time. And honesty, oh, honesty. It's the glue that holds everything together. It's not just about avoiding lies or being upfront with people. It's about aligning your inner truth with your outer world. When you're honest, you stop second-guessing your motives, because you know deep down what's driving you. There's no fear of getting caught or hiding behind excuses. You trust yourself because you know you're living by your own code. And that kind of trust? It's invaluable. It's the foundation of self-respect. It's what lets you sleep easy at night, knowing that you've stayed true to who you are, no matter the consequences. So, if you want to live by Musashi's code today, you need to embrace integrity and honesty as a way of life, not just abstract concepts. Be honest with yourself about where you're falling short and where you're succeeding. Let your actions mirror your deepest truths. It won't always be easy. Sometimes, the honest path is the hardest, but it's the one that leads to true mastery of yourself, of your relationships, and of your world. And, just like Musashi, you'll find that living with integrity is what ultimately gives your life meaning and power. Number 5. Act decisively, without hesitation. Act decisively. No hesitation. It sounds simple enough, right? But when you really dig into it, that's where the challenge lies. In a world filled with distractions, second-guessing, and a constant flood of opinions, The ability to make decisions quickly and stick with them is a rare and powerful skill. This is one of the core tenets of Musashi's philosophy, and it's something that can totally transform how we approach both the big and small moments in life. Musashi didn't waste time wondering what if or maybe later. His whole life was a series of rapid decisions, and that's what kept him alive in situations where others might have faltered. It wasn't about rushing for the sake of rushing. No, Musashi's decisions were rooted in years of experience, observation, and deep focus. He didn't hesitate because he'd already done the work. He knew where his mind was, where his body was, and what his next move had to be. Now, let's talk about what that looks like in our daily lives. How often do we catch ourselves sitting in indecision? We weigh the options, ask for advice, Google endlessly, and still end up doing nothing. We hesitate because we're afraid of being wrong. Afraid of making the wrong choice, or missing out on a better opportunity down the line. It's exhausting, isn't it? But here's the thing, hesitation can be the biggest trap. The longer you wait, the more time you give to doubt, to fear, to uncertainty. And when that happens, you can end up paralyzed, stuck in a loop where nothing ever gets done. What Musashi teaches us is that you don't need to have every answer, but you do need to make a choice. Even if it feels uncomfortable. Even if the outcome is uncertain. Why? Because inaction is the true enemy. When you make a decision, you create momentum. You set things into motion. It's through action that you learn, grow, and evolve. A decision doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be made. From there, you adjust, pivot, or keep pushing forward. But at least you're moving. Think about it, when you act decisively, you take control. You stop waiting for life to happen to you and instead, you become the one creating your own path. Musashi didn't wait for the perfect moment. He didn't hesitate in the heat of battle, hoping the perfect opportunity would appear. No. He saw what needed to be done and he did it, regardless of the uncertainty that might have loomed. And that's the mindset we can adopt today, in everything we do. The real challenge isn't in the decision itself. It's in trusting that your instincts, your intuition, and your preparation will guide you. But how do you get to a place where you can trust yourself like that? Well, it's not about hoping you're always right. It's about consistency. You prepare. You practice. You become so familiar with your goals, your vision, and your mission that you know what's right for you, even when the path seems foggy. Musashi didn't hesitate because he had already sharpened his mind, his skills, and his judgment over years of focused training. His confidence wasn't blind, it was earned through relentless effort. And sure, there will be times when you're wrong. When your decisions don't lead to the outcomes you hoped for. But that's not the point. The point is that you acted. You tried. You gained something from the experience, whether it's a lesson, a shift in perspective, or just the knowledge that you'll do better next time. Hesitation, on the other hand, keeps you stuck in the land of what-ifs and regrets. So, what does it mean to act decisively without hesitation? It's about taking ownership of your choices. It's about not letting fear or doubt paralyze you. It's about trusting your process and knowing that action is the key to clarity. Yes, you may stumble. Yes, you may face challenges. But every step you take, even if it's not perfect, brings you closer to where you need to be. In the end, life doesn't wait. Opportunities don't wait. And as Musashi would tell you, neither should you. Act. Decide. Move forward. The warrior's path is one of certainty, not because the future is always clear, but because you know that hesitation is the real danger. Number 6. Embrace humility and learn from others. Miyamoto Musashi, in his travels and battles, was not only known for his unparalleled swordsmanship but also for his deep understanding of the human condition. And a huge part of his wisdom came from one simple but often overlooked trait: humility. Musashi didn't believe that mastery meant knowing everything, quite the opposite, in fact. He understood that to be truly great, you first have to acknowledge that you don't know it all. Humility, then, becomes more than just an attitude, it becomes a vital tool for growth. At first glance, humility can seem like something passive or weak, like stepping aside and letting others take the lead. But it's actually one of the most powerful things you can do for your own development. It's a recognition that there's always more to learn. Musashi wasn't arrogant about his skills, even though he was one of the best. Instead, he knew that the moment you stop being humble, you close yourself off to new knowledge. You stop seeing other people's wisdom, and that's when growth stalls. When you embrace humility, you're telling yourself that you're open to learning from anyone, no matter who they are. It's not about looking down on others or thinking you're better than anyone. It's about realizing that everyone around you, regardless of their background or experience, has something to offer. When you have that mindset, every interaction becomes a potential lesson. Every conversation, every encounter, is a chance to absorb something new, to expand your understanding. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't require you to be perfect or know everything. It just requires you to acknowledge that you don't. It's about recognizing that growth is a continuous journey. No matter how far you've come or how much you've achieved, there's always something new to learn. Humility, then, becomes the foundation for that ongoing growth. And the thing is, embracing humility doesn't mean you lack confidence. On the contrary, when you're humble, you're secure enough in your abilities to admit that you don't know everything. You're confident enough to acknowledge that there's always space to grow. In a way, humility actually strengthens your sense of self because it frees you from the need to prove yourself all the time. You don't have to be right all the time, you don't have to have all the answers. Instead, you can focus on becoming better and better, piece by piece. Musashi's approach reminds us that arrogance can blind you to the wisdom that others have. And let's be real, we all know someone who thinks they know it all. It's exhausting, isn't it? They speak as if their way is the only way, never willing to consider new ideas or perspectives. The thing is, that attitude doesn't just close you off to learning, it can also isolate you from others. People see through that kind of arrogance. And when you stop listening to others, you stop evolving. The world becomes a smaller place. On the flip side, when you embrace humility, you open yourself up to the richness of the world around you. You start learning from people you might have otherwise overlooked. You begin to see that everyone has a different way of looking at things, different experiences that can shape your own thinking. Humility allows you to be a sponge, soaking up wisdom wherever it may come from. There's also a deeper level to humility, accepting that we all have weaknesses. It's not always easy to admit we have limitations. But when we do, we're free to work on them. Instead of hiding behind a facade of perfection, we acknowledge our flaws and take steps to improve. This isn't about self-criticism, it's about understanding that no one is invincible, no one is above learning and growth. Musashi, by embracing humility, didn't just learn from others, he also became a better teacher. He didn't hold his wisdom like some kind of treasure, guarding it for himself. He shared it. He passed it on. And by doing so, he not only elevated others but also elevated himself. By remaining humble, he constantly engaged with the world, constantly learning, constantly refining his understanding. In the end, humility isn't just about being modest or meek, it's a mindset, a key part of a warrior's code. It's the recognition that mastery is a lifelong process, and no one can walk that path alone. If you truly want to grow, you have to listen, absorb, and be open to the lessons life has to offer, from everyone you meet. So, the next time you find yourself thinking you've got it all figured out, pause for a moment and consider, what could I learn from this person, or this situation? How can I grow today? That is the power of humility in action. Number 7, focus on the present, not the past or future. When you think about the past, it can be like a weight, pulling you back, making it hard to move forward. Or when you focus too much on the future, you end up chasing something that hasn't even happened yet. Musashi, the ultimate warrior, knew that the only place where true power resides is the present moment. Everything else? It's a distraction. You can't control what's already happened, and you can't predict what's coming, but what you can do is act right now, with all of your attention, intention, and energy. It's easy to get caught in the loop of what-ifs. We all do it, don't we? The mind loves to wander, replaying old mistakes, regretting missed opportunities, or stressing about what's going to happen tomorrow. But here's the truth, the past is a ghost. It's already done. You can't change it. And the future? It's not real yet. It's all possibilities, not actualities. All of your focus should be on the now. That's where you have agency, where you can make decisions, where you can act with intention. It's like trying to fight a battle when your mind is split between yesterday and tomorrow. You're not fully in it. And when you're not fully in the moment, you're losing. Musashi didn't get caught up in the past. In fact, he believed that dwelling on past victories or failures only weakened you. It keeps you looking backward, robbing you of the energy needed to take on the present challenge. What good is thinking about how well you did yesterday or how badly you messed up 2 weeks ago? Those thoughts are like distractions on a battlefield. They pull your attention away from the enemy in front of you. Musashi understood that you need to stay centered. He was fully present in every duel, fully aware of the movements around him, reacting in real time. That's how he won. It wasn't about past glories or future expectations. It was about living in the moment, reacting to what was right in front of him with complete focus. This doesn't mean you should ignore the lessons of the past or plan for the future. It's not about rejecting them entirely. The past has lessons, and the future has plans. But Musashi knew you have to let go of them when it's time to act. You learn from yesterday's mistakes, but you don't let them cripple you today. You set goals for tomorrow, but you don't obsess over what might happen. What matters is how you show up in this moment. If you bring all of yourself to the present, it's like giving yourself a clear path forward. You're not weighed down by the ghosts of past decisions, nor are you frantic about the what-ifs of the future. Think about this for a second. When you're doing something, really doing it, like working on a project, having a conversation, or even just taking a breath, how often are you truly present in that moment? Or are you distracted, thinking about something else, or worrying about the next thing? Musashi's code calls you to immerse yourself fully. If you're focused on the task at hand, you bring a level of depth and precision to it that's impossible when your mind is fragmented. The truth is, we often rob ourselves of our own power by letting our minds wander to places that don't serve us. But when you're fully here, in the now, you're unstoppable. It's not about perfection either. Being present doesn't mean you won't get distracted sometimes or that you won't slip into old habits of worry. But what matters is recognizing when your attention drifts and pulling it back. Every moment you spend in the present is a moment you're sharpening your mind, your spirit, and your purpose. The more you do this, the more skilled you become at it. It becomes second nature. Living in the present is the core of Musashi's philosophy. The warrior who is most present is the one who can react with precision, who can make the right choice in the heat of the moment. When you stop chasing the past or future and focus on what's directly in front of you, that's when you unlock your greatest potential. So, let go of the distractions. Take a breath, be where you are, and fight with everything you've got in this very moment. Number 8, face challenges with courage and resolve. Facing challenges with courage and resolve, it's one of those phrases that sounds great in theory, right? But when you're actually in the middle of a tough spot, it's easy to forget the meaning behind those words. Musashi, however, knew something about facing challenges head-on. His life was built on overcoming obstacles, and his approach was simple: face whatever comes your way, with everything you've got. Let's break it down. Courage isn't about being fearless. It's not about having no doubts or feeling like a superhero in the face of adversity. No, courage is about showing up even when you feel that lump in your throat, that weight in your chest, that moment of uncertainty creeping in. It's about acting in the face of fear, not because the fear disappears, but because you refuse to let it control you. When Musashi fought, when he went into battle, he wasn't always calm, collected, and unshaken. He had to confront his fears, just like anyone else. The difference was that he chose not to run from them. He chose to meet them with a quiet, almost relentless resolve. He didn't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions. He just took action. And that's something we can all learn from. The fear, the doubt, the what-ifs are never going to vanish completely. But the real challenge isn't in avoiding them. It's in moving forward despite them. Now, resolve, let's talk about that. Resolve is different from courage, though they go hand in hand. While courage is about stepping up in the face of fear, resolve is about sticking to your course, no matter how long or difficult the journey ahead looks. It's about persistence when things get hard, when it feels like you're getting nowhere, or when the end goal seems impossible. Musashi didn't just face challenges with courage in the moment, he lived with a kind of inner resolve that saw him through the toughest times. Resolve is about digging deep when you feel like giving up. It's about waking up the next day, even when you don't feel like it, and continuing the grind, step by step. Think about it, life throws all sorts of challenges our way. There are days when everything seems against you. The world feels heavy. The weight of your goals feels almost unbearable. The doubts swirl. And when that happens, it's easy to want to throw in the towel. But what Musashi teaches us is this: the key to overcoming the obstacles, the setbacks, and the failures isn't in finding a way around them, it's in finding a way through them. It's easy to talk about resolve when things are going well, but the real test comes when the storm hits. Musashi wasn't just a strategist on the battlefield, he was a strategist in life. His entire philosophy was built on the idea of seeing the long game, understanding that even the hardest trials are just temporary moments in the grand scheme of things. When things get tough, it's not the challenge that defines us, it's how we respond to it. To face challenges with courage and resolve, we need to shift our mindset. It's not about hoping for an easy road. It's about recognizing that the struggle is part of the journey. Each challenge we face is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to build resilience. Every obstacle is a lesson wrapped in difficulty. And if you approach those moments with the right attitude, one of courage and resolve, you'll find that even the toughest battles bring something valuable. At its core, Musashi's message is clear: don't shy away from hardship. Don't look for an escape. Embrace it. Lean into it. Face it. Because each time you push through, you come out stronger, sharper, more equipped to handle the next challenge that life throws your way. The warrior's path isn't about avoiding adversity, it's about facing it with everything you've got and knowing that, in the end, it's not the challenge that defines you, but the way you rise to meet it. So, what does it really mean to face challenges with courage and resolve? It's about acknowledging your fears, embracing your struggles, and then pushing through with everything you've got, even when you don't know what the outcome will be. Musashi didn't just survive challenges, he conquered them, because he knew that every fight, every difficulty, was a step towards something greater. And that's a mindset we can all apply today. Number 9. Maintain balance between work and rest. Musashi wasn't just a master of swordsmanship, he was a master of balance. He knew that to be truly effective, to reach the highest levels of skill, you couldn't just focus on work or effort all the time. You had to know when to push yourself and when to step back, when to strike hard and when to rest. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to forget this balance, especially when we're so caught up in the hustle culture that tells us we need to constantly be on the grind. But Musashi's life, his philosophy, reminds us that balance isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a must. You see, work and rest are not opposites, they're partners. Each one feeds the other. If you only work, you'll eventually burn out, and when you burn out, your work becomes less effective, less inspired. Musashi, in his countless battles and journeys, knew that the body and the mind needed rest in order to perform at their peak. The idea wasn't to exhaust yourself in an unending effort, but to find a rhythm, intense focus followed by recovery, action followed by reflection. Think about it, when you're too focused on work, it becomes easy to fall into a state of stress or frustration. You start pushing harder, thinking that more effort equals better results. But sometimes, that's not the case. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for your work is to walk away from it for a while. When you rest, when you recharge, you allow yourself to gain fresh perspective, to come back to your tasks with a renewed sense of energy, creativity, and clarity. This is what Musashi understood. Your energy, your mind, your body, everything needs time to restore itself. That's not to say Musashi didn't work hard, he did. But he worked with purpose, with intention. Every move, every strike was calculated, strategic. And when he wasn't training or fighting, he took time to reflect, to rest. This kind of balance allowed him to stay sharp, to be fully present when it mattered most. The key was that he understood the value of both work and rest. One wasn't better than the other. They both served a greater purpose. In our modern lives, this is something we often overlook. We hustle, grind, and burn the candle at both ends, convinced that if we're not always working, we're falling behind. But what ends up happening is that we lose the ability to think clearly, to be creative, to solve problems. When we push ourselves too hard without enough rest, we become less productive, less effective. And the worst part is, we don't even notice it until it's too late. So, how do we find that balance? How do we follow Musashi's wisdom and integrate it into our own lives? It starts with awareness. Recognize when your energy is depleting. Recognize when you're pushing yourself too hard, when you're too consumed by work. It's not weakness to take a step back, it's wisdom. It's knowing that by resting, you're preparing yourself for a stronger comeback, for greater clarity, for better focus. And rest doesn't just mean sleeping. Rest can take many forms. It can mean taking a walk, spending time with your thoughts, or engaging in something completely different from your usual tasks. Sometimes, rest is about allowing your mind to wander, giving it space to process everything you've been working on. Musashi himself spent time away from the battlefield, reflecting on his experiences, sharpening his mind, understanding the principles of strategy not just through action but through thought and stillness. Finding balance also means learning how to be disciplined with both work and rest. It's easy to overdo it on either side. Some people work too much, and others procrastinate in the name of rest. True balance comes when you are intentional with your time. You give your all to your work, and then you make sure to step away and allow your body and mind to recuperate. It's about being present in both states, whether you're in the thick of your work or allowing yourself the time to rest and recharge. So next time you feel like you're being pulled in a million directions, remember Musashi's code. Don't push yourself endlessly in the name of progress. Take time to rest, to reflect, and to breathe. When you come back to your work, you'll be sharper, more focused, and ready to give it your all. Balance is the secret to sustainable success, and it's one that Musashi mastered long ago. Now it's up to us to do the same. Number 10. Stay true to your personal values. Staying true to your personal values sounds easy, doesn't it? It's like a nice, shiny principle we all aspire to follow. But if you've ever been in a tough spot, you know that it's not always so simple. Life throws curveballs, pressures mount, and sometimes, the easiest choice is to bend a little here, compromise a little there. Musashi, though, wouldn't have it. For him, staying true to your personal values wasn't just a nice idea, it was a matter of survival, of maintaining honor, and of living a life that felt right, no matter the cost. You see, values are more than just abstract concepts. They're like the compass that guides you through the chaos of life. When everything around you is shifting and changing, your values keep you grounded. Musashi's code was built on the foundation of unwavering principles that he would never stray from, no matter how much temptation or pressure came his way. To him, integrity, discipline, and focus weren't just words, they were the bedrock upon which everything else stood. Now, let's be real. Living according to your values is not always going to be easy. It can get tough. Sometimes, the world around you will challenge those very values. You'll be faced with situations that test your resolve. But Musashi didn't think this was something to avoid. For him, these tests were what made a warrior. If you really want to live by your values, you have to be willing to stand firm when it feels like the whole world is telling you to compromise. And believe me, the world will try. The moment you decide to live by your values, expect the universe to throw challenges your way to see if you really mean it. But here's the thing, when you stay true to yourself, when you follow your own principles instead of trying to bend to the will of others, you walk through life with a different kind of power. It's a quiet strength. There's no need to convince others of your worth because you know it. You're not relying on external validation to feel secure. You're not worried about what people will think when you do the right thing, because your own sense of honor is enough. It's like a shield that no one can take away from you. Musashi understood the importance of staying true to his code, and he didn't make exceptions. In fact, one of the strongest qualities a warrior can possess is the ability to remain unwavering in their beliefs, even when the odds are stacked against them. You don't become great by bending to every passing trend or chasing fleeting desires. No, greatness comes from staying the course, from committing to your values even when it feels like the easier path would be to let them slip. This doesn't mean being rigid or inflexible, though. Staying true to your values doesn't mean you never grow, never evolve. It means that no matter how much you learn or change, you don't lose sight of what matters to you. The core of who you are stays intact, even as you refine your approach, your skills, and your understanding of the world. Musashi didn't just blindly follow a set of rules, he tested, refined, and challenged his own values constantly. He wasn't afraid of growth, but he didn't let it take him away from the things that grounded him either. So, how do you do this in the modern world? How do you stay true to yourself when there are so many voices telling you who you should be, how you should act, and what you should want? It starts with self-awareness. It starts with knowing what you stand for. If you don't know what your values are, you can't possibly live by them. So, take the time to reflect. What really matters to you? What are you willing to stand up for, even when it's hard? And once you've figured that out, commit to it, fully and without hesitation. Living by your values isn't just about saying the right things, it's about making decisions that align with those values. It's about consistency, even when no one is looking. It's about showing up in a way that reflects who you truly are, no matter what's going on around you. And when you do that, you'll find that life becomes simpler in a way. Not easy, but simpler. Because you won't be torn in a million different directions, trying to please everyone or fit into boxes that don't belong to you. You'll know where you stand, and that's enough. Musashi didn't need the approval of others to know he was on the right path. His commitment to his values was all the validation he needed. And in a world full of distractions and noise, that's the kind of inner strength we could all use. Stay true to yourself, and no matter what the world throws at you, you'll walk through it with your head held high. And that's how you can apply Miyamoto Musashi's warrior code to your life today. By embracing these timeless ethical principles, you build a foundation of honor, discipline, and respect that can guide you through any challenge. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use a bit more strength and wisdom in their life. Stay true to your values, live with integrity, and remember, the warrior's path is about constant self-improvement. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay honorable, and always strive for greatness. Did you know that Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated samurai, lived by a set of 21 powerful rules that helped him master the sword, his mind, and ultimately, his life? These aren't just tactics for fighting, they are principles for thriving in any area of life. From conquering your inner fears to achieving greatness in your career, Musashi's 21 rules hold the key to transforming your mindset and actions. Today, we're breaking down each of these rules so you can apply them to fix your life. Trust me, if you stick with this video till the end, you'll walk away with a blueprint for success that even Musashi himself would be proud of. Number 1. Accept everything as it is. You know, accepting everything as it is can feel like trying to embrace the wind, elusive and ever-changing. But there's something deeply freeing about it. Imagine not wrestling with every little twist and turn life throws your way. Instead, you let things flow, recognizing that resistance only adds unnecessary weight. When you start to accept things as they are, you're not giving up or saying you agree with everything. It's more about acknowledging the present moment without judgment. Think of it like sitting by a river. The water flows, sometimes calm, sometimes wild, but you simply watch it without trying to control its path. There's a certain peace in that observation. Musashi, with his warrior spirit, knew that battles aren't just fought with swords, but with the mind. Accepting reality doesn't mean you're passive, it means you're strategic. You're conserving your energy, focusing it where it truly matters instead of squandering it on what you can't change. It's like tuning into a rhythm. Once you're in sync, everything aligns a bit more smoothly. Sometimes, our minds are tangled in what-ifs and should-haves. Letting go of that mental clutter and embracing the now can clear a path forward. It's not always easy, of course. The mind loves to wander, to create scenarios and build castles in the air. But there's strength in grounding yourself, in knowing that acceptance is the first step toward genuine progress. And here's the thing, acceptance isn't a one-time deal. It's a continuous practice. Each day brings new challenges, new situations that test your ability to stay present. But with each moment you accept, you build resilience. It's like training a muscle. Over time, it becomes second nature. Embracing the present also means being kind to yourself. Life can be messy, unpredictable, and sometimes downright frustrating. Instead of beating yourself up over things that aren't going your way, acceptance allows for compassion. It's about understanding that imperfection is part of the journey. Ultimately, accepting everything as it is about finding harmony within yourself and with the world around you. It's a dance between letting go and moving forward, between peace and action. When you master this balance, you're not just surviving, you're thriving, navigating life with a clarity and calm that's truly empowering. So, take a deep breath and let go. Embrace the ebb and flow, the highs and lows. Accepting things as they are doesn't mean you stop striving, it means you're setting the stage for genuine growth and fulfillment. It's a timeless wisdom that, when truly understood, can transform the way you live your life. Number 2, don't seek pleasure for its own sake. You know, chasing after pleasure just because it feels good can be a slippery slope. It's like being on a never-ending merry-go-round where each turn brings a fleeting sense of joy, but nothing lasting. When you prioritize pleasure above all else, it can cloud your judgment and steer you away from what truly matters. It's not that enjoying good things is bad, it's natural and part of being human. The trick is to find balance and not let the pursuit of pleasure dictate your actions or decisions. Imagine living in a way where every choice is filtered through the lens of immediate gratification. It might seem appealing at first, but over time, it can lead to a sense of emptiness or dissatisfaction. There's a deeper fulfillment that comes from purpose and meaning, something that pleasure alone can't provide. By not fixating on pleasure for its own sake, you open yourself up to experiences that build character and resilience. It's about cultivating a mindset where pleasure is a byproduct of living a disciplined and intentional life, rather than the main objective. This approach encourages you to look beyond the surface and seek out what truly enriches your existence. It's about making decisions that align with your values and long-term goals, even if they're not always the easiest or most pleasurable in the moment. When you shift your focus from seeking pleasure to pursuing growth and self-improvement, you create a more sustainable and fulfilling path. It's like planting a garden. Nurturing it with care and patience leads to something beautiful and lasting, rather than constantly chasing after the next quick bloom. Moreover, resisting the urge to chase every pleasure can enhance your appreciation for the simpler things in life. It teaches you to savor moments and find joy in everyday activities without the need for constant stimulation. This doesn't mean denying yourself enjoyment, but rather integrating it in a way that complements a well-rounded and meaningful life. By not making pleasure the end goal, you allow yourself to experience a richer tapestry of emotions and achievements that contribute to your overall well-being. In essence, Miyamoto Musashi's wisdom here is a reminder to prioritize what truly matters over transient pleasures. It's about building a foundation of strength, discipline, and purpose that supports a life of genuine satisfaction. So, next time you're tempted to seek out the next quick thrill, take a step back and consider whether it's adding real value to your life or simply filling a temporary void. Embrace a path that leads to lasting fulfillment, where pleasure is a natural outcome of living with intention and integrity. Number 3. Don't depend on partial feelings. Alright, let's dive into this idea of not depending on partial feelings, a concept that's both simple and surprisingly deep. Imagine navigating your life with only half the picture, relying on snippets of emotion rather than the whole canvas. It's like trying to solve a puzzle with pieces missing, frustrating, right? When you base decisions on partial feelings, you're essentially letting incomplete emotions steer your ship. Maybe you feel a burst of excitement about something without understanding the underlying reasons, or perhaps a fleeting frustration leads you to make a hasty choice. It's easy to get caught in these momentary waves, but they often don't reflect the bigger picture. Musashi, with his sharp focus and disciplined mind, knew the importance of seeing things clearly. He didn't let momentary emotions cloud his judgment. Instead, he sought a balanced perspective, ensuring that his actions were rooted in a comprehensive understanding rather than fleeting sentiments. This doesn't mean suppressing feelings, but rather acknowledging them fully and considering how they fit into the broader context of your life. Think about it this way: emotions are like colors on a palette. Each one has its place, but relying too heavily on just a few can make your masterpiece lack depth. By embracing a full spectrum of feelings, you allow yourself to experience life more richly and make decisions that are more aligned with your true self. There's a rhythm to this approach. Sometimes, your feelings will guide you, other times, logic will take the lead. It's about finding that balance, ensuring that no single emotion dominates your path. Musashi's teachings remind us that mastery comes from understanding and integrating all parts of ourselves, not just the parts that feel the strongest in the moment. It's also about patience and reflection. When faced with a decision, taking a step back to fully feel and understand your emotions can lead to more thoughtful and effective choices. It's like giving yourself the space to breathe before taking a step forward. This mindful approach helps prevent regrets and fosters a sense of inner harmony. In the end, not depending on partial feelings is about embracing the entirety of your emotional landscape. It's about being present with your emotions, understanding their origins, and letting them inform your actions without letting them control you. Musashi's wisdom here is timeless, offering a path to a more balanced and intentional life. So, next time you're faced with a decision, remember to look beyond the surface of your emotions. Dive deeper, understand the full range of your feelings, and let that comprehensive understanding guide you. It's a powerful way to navigate life, ensuring that your choices are not just reactions, but thoughtful steps towards your true path. Number 4. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Alright, let's dive into this idea of thinking lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. It's kind of like stepping back and seeing the bigger picture, you know? When you don't put yourself at the center of everything, suddenly, the world feels more expansive and full of possibilities. Thinking lightly of yourself doesn't mean you're dismissing your own worth or importance. It's more about not getting tangled up in your own ego, your own drama. Imagine freeing yourself from the constant need to prove, to impress, to be right. It's liberating. You start to realize that your own story is just one thread in a much larger tapestry. Now, when you shift that focus outward, things change. You begin to observe, to understand, to appreciate the complexities around you. It's like turning the volume down on your own thoughts and turning it up on everything else. Suddenly, there's so much more to explore, so many layers to peel back and understand. This perspective invites curiosity. Instead of being wrapped up in your own concerns, you start to see the world with fresh eyes. Every interaction, every moment becomes an opportunity to learn something new. It's a mindset that encourages empathy, because when you're not so caught up in yourself, it's easier to connect with others and see things from their point of view. There's also a sense of humility that comes with this approach. Recognizing that you're just one part of a much bigger picture can be both grounding and inspiring. It reminds you that there's always more to discover, more to understand. It keeps you open, adaptable, and ready to embrace change. But here's the thing, it's not always easy. Our minds are wired to focus on ourselves, to seek validation and meaning in our own experiences. Shifting that focus takes practice, a conscious effort to step outside and engage with the world in a deeper way. It's like training a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it becomes. And in doing so, you might find a greater sense of purpose. When you're not constantly revolving around your own needs and desires, you can tap into something bigger. It's a way to contribute, to make a difference, to be part of something meaningful. So, thinking lightly of yourself and deeply of the world is really about balance. It's about finding that sweet spot where you value yourself enough to know your worth, but not so much that you lose sight of everything else. It's a dance between self-awareness and worldly awareness, creating a richer, more fulfilling way to navigate life. Embrace this mindset, and watch how it transforms not just how you see yourself, but how you connect with everything around you. It's a journey worth taking, one thoughtful step at a time. Number 5. Be detached from desire. You know, being detached from desire isn't about shutting down or becoming numb. It's more like finding a sense of peace amidst the chaos of wants and needs. Think of it as having a clear mind where desires don't tug at you incessantly, pulling you in every direction. When you're detached, you're not fighting against your feelings. Instead, you're observing them with a calm and steady perspective. Imagine not being swayed by every passing urge or fancy. It's not about denying yourself things you enjoy or setting rigid boundaries that suffocate your spirit. It's about creating a space where your desires don't control you. Instead of letting cravings dictate your actions, you take a step back and evaluate what truly matters. This kind of detachment brings a sense of freedom because you're no longer chained to every fleeting want. There's something liberating about not being overly attached to specific outcomes. It allows you to flow with life's uncertainties without getting thrown off balance. When desires aren't holding the reins, you can navigate challenges with a clearer mind and a more resilient heart. It's like having an anchor that keeps you grounded, no matter how stormy things get around you. Being detached also means appreciating things without clinging to them. You can enjoy the present moment fully, knowing that it doesn't have to last forever. This mindset fosters gratitude and contentment, where you're satisfied with what you have without constantly reaching for more. It's a delicate balance, but once you find it, life feels more harmonious and less frantic. This kind of detachment doesn't strip life of its richness, instead, it enhances it. You start to value experiences and connections more deeply because you're not distracted by incessant desires. It's about savoring what's here and now, without the pressure of needing more to feel complete. This inner calm makes you more present, more engaged, and ultimately, more fulfilled. Musashi's advice here is a call to inner strength and clarity. By being detached from desire, you cultivate a mindset that's unshaken by external changes and internal cravings alike. It's about mastering yourself, finding that inner peace where desires don't dictate your happiness. So, next time you feel a strong pull towards something, pause and breathe. Let that space guide you to a place where you're in control, not your desires. Embrace this detachment, and watch how it transforms the way you live, bringing a deeper sense of purpose and tranquility to your everyday life. Number 6. Don't regret what you've done. Alright, let's chat about the idea of not regretting what you've done. It's a nugget of wisdom that might seem tricky at first, but when you unpack it, there's a lot to grasp. Think of life as a series of choices, each leading you down different paths. Sometimes those paths lead to sunny days, and other times to stormy weather. But here's the thing, every step you take shapes who you are. Regret often creeps in when we dwell too much on the what-ifs and should-haves. It's like holding onto a heavy backpack filled with past decisions, making every step forward feel a bit more burdensome. But Musashi, with his samurai spirit, teaches us to let go. He understood that every action, every decision, was a part of the journey, a necessary piece of the puzzle that makes up our lives. Imagine viewing your past not as a series of mistakes, but as lessons learned. Each decision, whether it led to triumph or stumble, added to your growth. It's not about brushing off what happened, but about embracing it as part of your story. By doing so, you free yourself from the chains of regret and open up space for new experiences and opportunities. Musashi's approach encourages us to stay present, to focus on what's in front of us rather than getting tangled up in what's behind. It's about acceptance and understanding that the past is immutable. You can't change what's already happened, but you can influence what comes next. This mindset shifts your energy from being stuck in hindsight to actively shaping your future. Let's break it down a bit more. When you stop regretting, you start to see your actions with a clearer lens. You recognize the intentions behind them, the circumstances that influenced your choices, and the growth that followed. It's a more compassionate view of yourself, acknowledging that you did the best you could with the knowledge and resources you had at the time. There's also a liberating aspect to this. Letting go of regret means freeing yourself from the past's grip, allowing you to move forward with confidence. It's about trusting that each experience, no matter how challenging, has equipped you with the strength and wisdom to handle what's next. Musashi's teachings remind us that life is a constant flow, ever-changing and unpredictable. Clinging to regrets is like trying to hold onto water. It slips through your fingers, leaving you parched and yearning for something that's already gone. Instead, embrace the flow, learn from each moment, and keep moving forward with intention and purpose. In the end, not regretting what you've done is about self-forgiveness and growth. It's about understanding that every step, every misstep, contributes to the person you're becoming. So, next time you catch yourself spiraling into regret, take a breath, acknowledge the lesson, and let it propel you forward. It's a powerful shift that aligns perfectly with Musashi's timeless wisdom, guiding you toward a more balanced and fulfilling life. Number 7. Don't be jealous. Alright, let's talk about not being jealous. It's one of those feelings that can sneak up on you, right? Jealousy often creeps in when you least expect it, stirring up all sorts of unnecessary drama. But here's the thing, holding on to jealousy is like carrying around a backpack full of stones. It weighs you down, distracts you, and keeps you from moving forward. Imagine for a moment that jealousy is just a fleeting emotion, not something that defines you. When you catch yourself feeling that twinge, take a step back. Breathe. Recognize it without judgment. It's okay to feel it, but it doesn't have to control you. By acknowledging it, you can start to let it go rather than letting it fester. Musashi would probably say that jealousy is a distraction from your own path. He was all about focusing on your journey, sharpening your skills, and honing your mind. When you're busy comparing yourself to others, you lose sight of your own progress and potential. It's like trying to climb a mountain while staring at everyone else's ascent. You miss the beauty of your own climb, the unique challenges and triumphs that come with it. Instead of letting jealousy take the driver's seat, channel that energy into something positive. It could be self-improvement, setting new goals, or simply appreciating what you have. Shift your focus from what others are doing to what you can do. It's empowering to realize that your growth doesn't diminish anyone else's achievements. In fact, their success can inspire you to reach higher. There's also a liberating aspect to releasing jealousy. It frees up mental space, allowing you to be more present and engaged with your own life. When you're not tangled up in envy, you can better appreciate your own strengths and accomplishments. It fosters a sense of contentment and gratitude, which are powerful antidotes to jealousy. And let's not forget, everyone has their own battles, their own insecurities. What you see on the surface is just a fraction of someone's reality. By letting go of jealousy, you cultivate empathy and understanding. You recognize that everyone is on their own journey, facing their own challenges. It creates a sense of connection rather than competition. Ultimately, not being jealous is about embracing your own worth and trusting in your path. It's about finding peace in who you are and where you're headed, without constantly measuring yourself against others. So next time jealousy tries to rear its head, remember Musashi's wisdom. Focus inward, grow your own strengths, and let others shine in their own right. It's a much lighter, freer way to live. Number 8. Don't be saddened by separation. You know, dealing with separation can feel like standing on the edge of a cliff, looking out into the vast unknown. It's natural to feel a pang of sadness when things or people change, but Musashi's wisdom here is all about not letting that sadness take over. It's not about ignoring your feelings or pretending everything is fine when it's not. Instead, it's about embracing the flow of life and understanding that change is a constant companion. Think about it this way, every separation, whether it's from a place, a person, or a phase in your life, opens up space for something new. It's like turning a page in a book. You might feel a bit lost or nostalgic, but there's always another story waiting to unfold. By not getting bogged down by the sadness, you allow yourself to move forward with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. There's a certain strength in accepting that separation is just part of the journey. It doesn't mean you care any less or that what you had wasn't meaningful. It simply means that life is evolving, and so are you. When you detach from the sadness, you give yourself the freedom to grow and adapt without being held back by what once was. Musashi's approach encourages you to find peace in the present moment, even when things are shifting around you. It's about staying grounded and not letting the upheaval shake your inner balance. Imagine having that steady center, where external changes can't easily tip you over. It's not always easy, but with practice, it becomes a powerful way to navigate life's ups and downs. Another aspect is the idea of impermanence. Everything is transient, and recognizing this can help lessen the sting of separation. When you understand that nothing stays the same forever, it becomes easier to let go and embrace what's next. It's a mindset that fosters resilience and helps you bounce back quicker from setbacks. Moreover, not being saddened by separation doesn't mean you stop valuing connections or experiences. It's more about appreciating them without clinging too tightly. You cherish the moments you've had but remain open to what the future holds. This balance between appreciation and letting go is key to maintaining your emotional well-being. In the end, Musashi's advice is a reminder that life is a series of beginnings and endings. By not being overly saddened by separation, you empower yourself to live more fully and embrace each new chapter with an open heart. It's about finding that inner peace that allows you to move forward gracefully, no matter what changes come your way. So next time you face a separation, take a deep breath, honor your feelings, and let yourself be ready for what's next. Number 9. Don't let resentment or complaint guide you. Alright, let's delve into the idea of not letting resentment or complaint steer your life. It's something we all wrestle with at times, right? Those nagging feelings can linger, casting shadows over our daily experiences. But Musashi, with his legendary focus, offers a different perspective. When resentment takes the driver's seat, it's like handing over the keys to your happiness. Suddenly, those negative emotions are dictating where you go and how you feel. It's easy to get stuck in that loop, letting past grievances cloud your judgment and dampen your spirit. But Musashi teaches us to reclaim that control, to not let these feelings define our journey. Imagine trying to move forward while carrying around a bag full of complaints. It weighs you down, doesn't it? Every step becomes harder, every decision feels burdened by that weight. Musashi's wisdom encourages us to lighten that load. It's not about ignoring what bothers you, but about not letting those annoyances dictate your actions or your outlook on life. He understood that holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It harms you more than anyone else. Instead, he advocates for a mindset of acceptance and resilience. By letting go of grudges and complaints, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters: your growth, your goals, and your peace of mind. There's a certain strength in choosing not to dwell on the negative. It's about shifting your focus from what's wrong to what you can build. Musashi's approach is proactive, urging us to take responsibility for our own happiness rather than relying on external circumstances or other people to provide it. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings or pretend everything is perfect. It's about acknowledging those emotions without letting them control you. When you catch yourself slipping into resentment or the urge to complain, you can pause, take a deep breath, and redirect your energy towards something positive. Musashi's teachings remind us that life is a series of moments, each offering a chance to choose how we respond. By not letting resentment or complaint guide us, we embrace a more intentional way of living. We become architects of our own happiness, crafting a life that's not marred by past hurts or ongoing frustrations. In the end, freeing yourself from resentment is a gift you give to yourself. It opens up space for joy, creativity, and fulfillment. Musashi's wisdom is timeless, offering a path to navigate life's challenges with grace and strength. So next time you feel that pang of resentment or the itch to complain, remember Musashi's lesson. Choose to let go, move forward, and steer your life with a clear, unburdened heart. It's a powerful way to live, one step at a time, guided by your own inner strength and clarity. Number 10. Don't let lust or love guide you. Alright, let's unpack the idea of not letting lust or love guide you. It sounds a bit counterintuitive, especially since these emotions are so deeply woven into our human experience. But there's a certain wisdom in Musashi's approach that can really help us navigate life with more clarity and purpose. When we let lust or love steer the ship, things can get a bit chaotic, don't you think? These feelings are intense, powerful, they can sweep us up and carry us away from where we truly want to go. It's like trying to navigate through a storm without a clear direction. Sure, the passion is there, but it can obscure our judgment and lead us off course. Musashi wasn't against feeling love or desire. Far from it. He understood the depth and richness these emotions bring to life. The key is not to let them control you. It's about maintaining a sense of balance and not allowing these powerful forces to cloud your vision or dictate your actions. Think of it as having a strong foundation that keeps you steady, no matter how strong the winds of emotion blow. When you hold back from letting lust or love take the reins, you create space for rational thinking and strategic planning. It's like having a clear mind in the midst of a battlefield. You can assess situations more objectively, make decisions that align with your true goals, and stay true to your path without getting sidetracked by fleeting feelings. There's also an element of self-respect in this approach. By not letting these emotions drive you, you're honoring your own worth and ensuring that your actions reflect your inner strength. It's about not compromising your values or letting external forces define your journey. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, but rather acknowledging them without letting them overshadow your purpose. Musashi's teachings encourage us to cultivate inner discipline. It's about mastering yourself first before anything else. When you have that self-mastery, you're less likely to be swayed by temporary passions and more capable of making choices that lead to long-term fulfillment and success. It's a form of self-respect that empowers you to live authentically and purposefully. Moreover, by not letting lust or love guide you, you open up the possibility for deeper, more meaningful connections. It allows relationships to develop based on mutual respect and understanding rather than fleeting desires. This creates a stronger, more resilient foundation for whatever you pursue, be it personal growth, career goals, or other passions. In the end, it's all about finding that sweet spot between feeling and reason. Embracing your emotions without letting them dominate your actions can lead to a more balanced and fulfilling life. Musashi's wisdom reminds us that true strength comes from within, from the ability to navigate life's complexities with a steady hand and a clear mind. So, next time those intense feelings arise, remember to take a step back, breathe, and guide yourself with intention and clarity. Number 11, have no preferences. You know, the idea of having no preferences might sound a bit strange at first. It's like trying to watch a movie without having a favorite genre, kind of neutral, right? But Musashi wasn't suggesting you become completely indifferent. It's more about shedding those fixed likes and dislikes that can sometimes box you in. Imagine approaching life with a mind that's open, not tethered to specific outcomes or choices. When you have no preferences, you're essentially giving yourself the freedom to experience things as they come, without the baggage of what you think should be. It's like stepping into a room without any preconceived notions about what's inside. This mindset can be incredibly liberating because it allows you to adapt and respond to situations with greater flexibility. No longer are you stuck trying to fit everything into a predetermined mold. Think about it, preferences can sometimes act like invisible chains, subtly guiding your decisions and actions without you even realizing it. By letting go of these anchors, you create space for new possibilities. It's not about rejecting what you enjoy or what you value, it's about not letting those things limit you. You become more present, more attuned to the moment, and more capable of embracing whatever comes your way. Having no preferences also cultivates a sense of impartiality. When you're not overly attached to specific outcomes, you can approach challenges and opportunities with a clear, unbiased perspective. It's like viewing the world through a lens that doesn't distort things based on what you want to see. This clarity can lead to better decision-making and a deeper understanding of yourself and your surroundings. Moreover, letting go of preferences can reduce the stress that comes from trying to meet certain expectations. Without the pressure to always choose the right thing according to your likes, you can navigate life more smoothly. It's about flowing with the currents instead of fighting against them, finding harmony in the ebb and flow of experiences. Musashi's wisdom here is a call to embrace a more fluid way of living. It's about being open to change and not getting too attached to specific paths. This doesn't mean you lose your identity or your passions. Rather, You enhance them by not letting rigid preferences dictate your journey. You become more resilient, more adaptable, and ultimately, more in tune with the true essence of life. So, next time you catch yourself clinging to a preference, take a moment to breathe and let go. Allow yourself the grace to explore without boundaries, to discover without limitations. By embracing a life with no fixed preferences, you open yourself up to a richer, more vibrant existence where every moment holds the potential for something new and unexpected. Number 12. Be indifferent to where you live. Alright, let's unpack the idea of being indifferent to where you live. At first glance, it might sound a bit strange. After all, our environment plays such a huge role in our daily lives. But when Musashi talks about indifference here, he's not saying you should ignore your surroundings entirely. Instead, it's about not letting your location define you or limit your potential. Think about it like this: being overly attached to where you are can create invisible boundaries around you. It's easy to get stuck in the mindset that you can't achieve something because of your current situation or place. But Musashi's wisdom flips that notion on its head. By cultivating indifference, you free yourself from these self-imposed limits. You start to see that your potential isn't tied to a specific place, but rather to your mindset and actions. This doesn't mean you disregard your needs or preferences, but rather you don't let them control your happiness or success. Imagine approaching life with a sense of flexibility, where the focus shifts from the external to the internal. Your energy isn't wasted on worrying about where you are, but instead is directed towards what you can do, who you can become, regardless of the setting. Musashi's approach encourages a sort of mental liberation. When you're indifferent to your location, you become more adaptable. Challenges that might seem insurmountable in one place could appear manageable elsewhere. It's about maintaining a steady core, a sense of self that remains unshaken by changes in your environment. This stability allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease. There's also an element of simplicity here. By not getting caught up in the specifics of where you live, you strip away unnecessary complexities. You focus on what truly matters: your goals, your growth, your inner peace. It's a minimalist approach to life's external factors, honing in on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Moreover, this indifference fosters resilience. When you're not overly invested in a particular place, you're better equipped to handle transitions and uncertainties. You become more resourceful, finding ways to thrive no matter the circumstances. It's a mindset that embraces change rather than fears it, seeing each new situation as an opportunity rather than a setback. In the end, being indifferent to where you live is about shifting your focus from the external to the internal. It's about recognizing that your true power lies within you, not in your surroundings. Musashi's wisdom here is a reminder that while we can't always control where life takes us, we can control how we respond to it. So, embrace that indifference, let go of unnecessary attachments, and watch how it transforms your approach to life. It's a liberating perspective that aligns perfectly with Musashi's timeless teachings, guiding you toward a more empowered and flexible existence. Number 13. Don't pursue good food. Alright, let's dive into the idea of not pursuing good food. At first glance, it might seem a bit odd, especially since enjoying what we eat is such a common part of life. But there's a deeper layer here that ties into Musashi's wisdom about discipline and focus. When you chase after good food, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of pleasure. It's like constantly seeking that next delightful bite, always wanting more, always craving the next taste sensation. This relentless pursuit can sometimes distract you from other important aspects of life. Musashi's point isn't about denying yourself enjoyment, but about understanding where your focus truly lies. Imagine shifting your attention away from the endless search for the perfect meal and instead channeling that energy into honing your skills or deepening your knowledge. It's not about abandoning pleasure, but about prioritizing what truly matters to you. When you're not fixated on one particular desire, you free up mental space for growth and self-improvement. There's also an element of moderation here. By not constantly chasing after the best food, you cultivate self-control. It's about finding balance and not letting one aspect of life overshadow others. This doesn't mean you can't enjoy good food, but rather that you approach it with intention and mindfulness. You savor it without letting it dominate your thoughts or actions. Musashi's teachings often emphasize the importance of discipline and strategic thinking. Applying this to the idea of pursuing good food means being deliberate about your choices. It's about recognizing when something is serving your greater goals and when it might be a distraction. This mindset helps you stay aligned with your priorities, ensuring that your actions contribute to your overall well-being and success. Furthermore, not pursuing good food can lead to a deeper appreciation for simplicity. It encourages you to find satisfaction in the basics, to enjoy what you have without always seeking the extraordinary. This shift in perspective can bring a sense of contentment and peace, reducing the constant need for more and fostering gratitude for what's already present in your life. There's also a connection to self-awareness here. By stepping back from the pursuit of good food, you become more attuned to your true needs and desires. It allows you to reflect on what genuinely brings you happiness and fulfillment, rather than getting swept away by fleeting pleasures. This clarity can guide you towards more meaningful and lasting sources of joy. In the end, Musashi's advice to not pursue good food is a metaphor for prioritizing what truly matters and maintaining focus on your path. It's about understanding the difference between fleeting desires and lasting fulfillment. By embracing this principle, you cultivate a mindset that values discipline, balance, and intentional living, ultimately leading to a more grounded and purposeful life. Number 14. Don't hold on to possessions you no longer need. You know, holding on to things you don't really need can be surprisingly heavy, both physically and mentally. It's like carrying around a backpack stuffed with stuff you barely use, yet it's always there, weighing you down. Musashi's advice here isn't about being a minimalist or denying yourself comforts. It's about recognizing what truly adds value to your life and letting go of the rest. Imagine clearing out all that unnecessary baggage. It's liberating, right? When you stop clinging to possessions that no longer serve a purpose, you create space not just in your home, but in your mind as well. It's fascinating how decluttering your environment can lead to a clearer, more focused mindset. Without the constant reminder of things you don't need, you can concentrate better on what really matters. It's like giving yourself permission to breathe easier, to move more freely without the constant drag of excess. There's a certain peace that comes from knowing you're not tied down by material things. It's not about discarding everything, it's about making mindful choices. Each item you let go of is a step towards simplicity and intentional living. You start to see your possessions differently, valuing them more because you've chosen to keep only what truly resonates with you. This shift in perspective can be incredibly empowering, fostering a sense of control and purpose. Plus, letting go of unnecessary possessions can spark creativity. With fewer things around, your mind has more room to wander, to imagine, to dream. It's amazing how a tidy space can inspire new ideas and fresh perspectives. You become more attuned to what you need versus what you want, honing your ability to prioritize effectively. This doesn't mean you lose your sense of self or your personal style, rather, you refine it, stripping away the excess to reveal what's truly important. Musashi's wisdom here is a reminder that true freedom comes from within, not from what you own. By not holding on to things you no longer need, you free yourself to pursue experiences and connections that genuinely enrich your life. It's about valuing moments over objects, relationships over things, and growth over stagnation. So next time you find yourself holding onto something just out of habit, take a moment to ask if it truly serves you. Letting go might just open up a whole new chapter of clarity and fulfillment in your life. Number 15. Don't act based on customary beliefs. Alright, let's dive into the idea of not acting based on customary beliefs. It's a pretty bold stance, right? After all, so much of what we do is influenced by what society tells us is normal or expected. But Musashi, the master swordsman, had a different take. He wasn't about following the crowd or sticking to the status quo just because it's comfortable or familiar. Think about it. When you act solely based on what everyone else is doing, you're essentially blending into the background. You're not carving out your own path or expressing your unique self. Musashi's wisdom encourages us to break free from those invisible chains. It's about questioning the norms, challenging the traditions, and finding what truly resonates with you, not just what's been handed down. This doesn't mean rejecting all traditions or beliefs outright. It's more about being mindful and intentional with your choices. When you're faced with a decision, instead of automatically going with what's expected, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself why you're choosing a particular path. Is it because it genuinely aligns with your values and goals, or are you just following the herd? Musashi's approach is all about authenticity. He believed in honing your own skills and strategies, not just mimicking others. This mindset pushes you to explore different perspectives, to innovate, and to develop a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. It's about embracing individuality and the courage to stand out, even when it feels easier to conform. There's also a sense of empowerment in this. When you stop acting based on customary beliefs, you take ownership of your life. You become the author of your own story, making choices that reflect who you are rather than what others expect you to be. This shift can lead to more fulfilling and meaningful experiences because you're living in alignment with your true self. Of course, stepping away from customary beliefs can be daunting. It requires self-awareness and the willingness to face uncertainty. But Musashi's teachings remind us that growth often happens outside our comfort zones. By challenging the norms, you open yourself up to new possibilities and discoveries that you might never have encountered otherwise. In the end, not acting based on customary beliefs is about finding your own path and staying true to it. It's about questioning, exploring, and ultimately choosing what serves you best. Musashi's wisdom here is a powerful reminder that while traditions and societal expectations have their place, your personal journey deserves the same respect and consideration. So, next time you're tempted to go along with the crowd, take a step back, listen to your inner voice, and choose the path that truly feels right for you. It's a liberating way to live, one that honors your individuality and fosters genuine growth. Number 16. Don't collect or practice with weapons beyond what's useful. Alright, let's delve into the idea of not collecting or practicing with weapons beyond what's useful. At first glance, it might seem a bit peculiar, especially when we think about the allure of having an impressive arsenal. But there's a deeper wisdom here that Musashi was all about: simplicity and purpose. Think about it. When you accumulate more than you need, whether it's weapons or anything else, it can clutter your mind and your space. It's like trying to carry around unnecessary baggage that weighs you down. Musashi believed in focusing on what truly serves your path, eliminating the excess that distracts you from your goals. It's not about having nothing, but about having exactly what you need, nothing more, nothing less. When you stick to what's useful, you hone your skills more effectively. Imagine trying to master a single weapon versus juggling multiple ones. Mastery requires dedication and focus. By limiting yourself to what's essential, you can pour your energy into becoming truly proficient, rather than spreading yourself thin across various tools. It's about quality over quantity, depth over breadth. There's also a mental clarity that comes with this approach. Less clutter means a clearer mind. When you're not bogged down by unnecessary possessions or distractions, you can think more clearly, make better decisions, and stay more aligned with your purpose. Musashi knew that a warrior's mind needs to be as sharp as his blade, free from the fog of excess. Moreover, this principle extends beyond just physical items. It's a metaphor for life in general. Whether it's habits, relationships, or even thoughts, holding on to too much can obscure your true path. By letting go of what's not essential, you create space for what truly matters. It's about prioritizing and being intentional with what you choose to keep and what you let go. Musashi's focus on usefulness also ties into efficiency. Every tool, every practice session, every decision should have a purpose. There's no room for frivolity when you're striving for mastery and excellence. It's about being strategic, ensuring that every action you take propels you forward rather than holding you back. In the end, not collecting or practicing with weapons beyond what's useful is about embracing simplicity and intentionality. It's a call to streamline your life, to focus on what truly empowers you, and to discard the rest. By adopting this mindset, you align yourself more closely with Musashi's teachings, cultivating a life that's not only purposeful but also profoundly effective. So, let go of the excess and embrace the power of simplicity. It might just be the key to unlocking your true potential. Number 17. Don't fear death. You know, the whole idea of not fearing death can seem pretty intense at first glance. It's one of those big, heavy topics that we often push aside. But Musashi's take on it is actually quite liberating. It's not about ignoring the reality of death or pretending it doesn't exist. Instead, it's about shifting how we perceive it and letting go of the paralyzing fear that can hold us back. Think about it this way: when you're not constantly anxious about what's to come, you can fully immerse yourself in the present moment. It's like unlocking a door to a room filled with possibilities that you might otherwise miss. Without the shadow of fear hanging over you, every day becomes richer, every experience more vivid. You start to live more authentically, not driven by what you're trying to avoid, but by what truly matters to you. There's a certain strength that comes from embracing the inevitability of death. It's not about being morbid or gloomy, it's about recognizing that life is finite and precious. This awareness can inspire you to make the most of your time, to prioritize what genuinely brings you joy and fulfillment. When you let go of the fear, you free yourself to take risks, to pursue passions without the constant worry of failure or loss. Musashi's perspective also invites a deeper connection with yourself and the world around you. Without the fear of death, you can cultivate a sense of peace and acceptance. It's like finding a quiet spot amidst the chaos where you can reflect and recharge. This inner calm can enhance your resilience, making you better equipped to handle life's ups and downs with grace and composure. Moreover, not fearing death encourages a more meaningful existence. It nudges you to seek out experiences that resonate on a deeper level, to build relationships that matter, and to leave a lasting impact in ways that go beyond material success. It's about living with intention, knowing that each moment counts and that your actions ripple out into the larger tapestry of life. Ultimately, Musashi's advice to not fear death is a call to live boldly and freely. It's about embracing the full spectrum of life's emotions and experiences without being held back by the unknown. By letting go of the fear, you open yourself up to a life that's not just survived, but truly lived. So, next time thoughts of mortality cross your mind, try to see them not as a source of fear, but as a catalyst for a more vibrant, purposeful journey. Number 18. Don't seek possessions for your old age. Alright, let's dive into why Musashi would tell us not to seek possessions for our old age. It might seem a bit offbeat, especially when so much of society pushes us to save, store, and stockpile. But there's a deeper wisdom here that goes beyond just material things. Think about it, constantly chasing after more stuff can become a never-ending race. It's like trying to fill a bottomless pit. No matter how much you gather, it never quite feels enough. Musashi's take? Shift your focus from accumulating things to cultivating yourself. It's not about tossing aside what you have, but about realizing that true security doesn't come from what you own, but from who you are. When you prioritize possessions for the future, you might miss out on the richness of the present. It's easy to get caught up in the later and forget to live fully now. Musashi encourages us to build a life that's resilient and adaptable, relying on our inner strength rather than external assets. This mindset fosters a sense of freedom, where you're not weighed down by the constant need to save or protect your belongings. There's also a beauty and simplicity that Musashi champions. By not fixating on hoarding things for later, you create space, both physically and mentally. This space allows for clarity and focus, letting you channel your energy into what truly matters. It's about discerning what adds value to your life and letting go of what doesn't, creating a more meaningful and intentional existence. Musashi's philosophy also touches on the idea of impermanence. Everything changes, and possessions can lose their value or become irrelevant over time. Relying on them for your future security can be precarious. Instead, investing in your skills, relationships, and personal growth provides a more stable foundation. These are the things that endure, regardless of external circumstances. Moreover, not seeking possessions for old age aligns with the concept of self-reliance. Musashi believed in being prepared to face life's challenges head-on, without leaning too heavily on material comfort. This doesn't mean you disregard your future, but rather that you approach it with confidence in your ability to adapt and thrive, no matter what comes your way. In the end, Musashi's advice nudges us to rethink our priorities. It's a call to build a life based on inner wealth rather than outer accumulation. By focusing on who you are and what you can become, you create a lasting sense of security and fulfillment that possessions alone can't provide. So next time you find yourself stressing about saving up for later, take a moment to consider Musashi's wisdom. Embrace the present, invest in yourself, and trust that true security comes from within, not from the things you gather along the way. Number 19. Respect Buddha and the gods, but don't expect their help. Alright, let's chat about respecting Buddha and the gods, but not expecting their help. It might sound a bit paradoxical at first, but there's a meaningful balance here that Musashi was pointing towards. Think of it like honoring something greater without relying on it to steer your ship. Respecting Buddha and the gods is about acknowledging the wisdom and the deeper truths they represent. It's about recognizing that there's a bigger picture, a spiritual dimension that enriches your understanding of life. But here's the kicker: Musashi isn't saying you should wait around for divine intervention. Instead, he's encouraging you to draw strength and inspiration from these beliefs while taking charge of your own destiny. Imagine holding a deep respect for these spiritual figures as a foundation, not a crutch. It's like having a solid base that supports your actions rather than dictates them. When you respect these higher powers, you cultivate a sense of humility and gratitude. You understand that while there's something greater at play, your efforts and decisions are what truly shape your path. Musashi's approach is all about self-reliance and personal responsibility. By respecting Buddha and the gods, you're tapping into a source of inner strength and guidance. It's not about waiting for miracles, but about aligning your actions with the values and wisdom these beliefs embody. You're inspired to act with integrity, courage, and mindfulness because you honor the principles they represent. There's also an element of balance here. You honor the spiritual without letting it overshadow your practical efforts. It's about harmonizing the spiritual and the worldly, ensuring that your actions are grounded in reality while being elevated by higher ideals. This balance keeps you focused and proactive, rather than passive and dependent. Moreover, respecting these higher powers without expecting their help fosters resilience. You're prepared to face challenges head-on, knowing that while you draw strength from your beliefs, the ultimate responsibility lies with you. It builds a mindset where you're empowered to overcome obstacles through your own abilities and decisions, rather than waiting for external forces to intervene. Musashi's wisdom here is a reminder to blend respect with action. It's about honoring the spiritual journey while actively engaging in the material one. You cultivate a relationship with these higher powers that uplifts and motivates you, without making you reliant on them for every step you take. This way, you stay grounded, focused, and fully in control of your own life's direction. So, respecting Buddha and the gods, in Musashi's view, is about finding that sweet spot where reverence meets self-empowerment. It's a dance of honoring the spiritual while marching forward with purpose and determination. Embrace this balance, and you'll find a deeper sense of fulfillment and strength on your journey. Number 20. Preserve your honor, even if you abandon your body. You know, the idea of hoarding stuff for your old age might seem like a safety net at first. But Musashi's wisdom here flips that notion on its head. It's not about scrimping and saving every penny or stashing away things you think you'll need down the line. Instead, it's about understanding what truly brings value and meaning to your life right now, without getting bogged down by the endless pursuit of more for a future that's always uncertain. Imagine focusing less on piling up possessions and more on enriching your present. When you chase after things to secure your later years, you might miss out on the richness of today. It's like planning every step of a dance so meticulously that you forget to enjoy the rhythm. Musashi encourages us to live fully in the moment, embracing experiences and connections that nourish your soul, rather than accumulating items that might only offer fleeting comfort later on. There's a certain freedom that comes from not tying your sense of security to material things. When you let go of the need to stockpile for tomorrow, you lighten your load, both physically and mentally. It's about finding contentment with what you have now, trusting that you can handle whatever comes your way without being anchored by excessive possessions. This mindset opens up space for creativity, spontaneity, and genuine happiness that doesn't hinge on owning more. Plus, constantly seeking possessions for the future can create a never-ending cycle of wanting. It's like trying to fill a bottomless pit. No matter how much you gather, it never feels quite enough. Musashi's rule nudges us to break free from that cycle, encouraging a shift from accumulation to appreciation. By valuing what you have in the present, you cultivate gratitude and satisfaction that doesn't depend on what's yet to come. Another angle is the clarity that comes from simplicity. When you're not distracted by the chase for future possessions, your mind can focus on what truly matters: personal growth, relationships, and passions. It's about prioritizing experiences over things, knowing that memories and skills outlast any material item. This doesn't mean you abandon all plans for the future, but rather, you approach them with a balanced perspective, ensuring that your present remains vibrant and fulfilling. Musashi's insight here is a powerful reminder that life isn't about the things you accumulate, but about the life you live. By not fixating on possessions for your old age, you embrace a more dynamic and resilient way of living. It's about trusting in your ability to adapt and thrive, no matter what the future holds. So, next time you find yourself obsessing over what you need to gather for later, take a breath and consider whether it's enhancing your life now or just adding unnecessary weight. Embrace the present, and let your life unfold with purpose and joy. Number 21. Never stray from the way. Alright, let's dive into the concept of never straying from the way. It's a powerful idea that Musashi held close, and it's all about staying true to your path, no matter what twists and turns life throws your way. Imagine having a clear sense of direction, a guiding principle that keeps you anchored even when everything around you feels chaotic. Musashi's way isn't just some abstract notion. It's about finding what truly matters to you and committing to it with unwavering dedication. It's like having an internal compass that points you toward your goals and values, ensuring that every step you take is aligned with who you are and what you want to become. When you never stray from this way, you maintain a sense of purpose and clarity, cutting through the noise and distractions that can easily lead you astray. But let's be real, it's not always easy to stay on course. Life has a knack for presenting unexpected challenges and tempting detours. That's where Musashi's wisdom shines. He understood that the journey isn't always smooth, and staying true to your path requires resilience and steadfastness. It's about holding firm to your principles, even when it feels like the easier option is to veer off in a different direction. Think of it as a dance between flexibility and commitment. While it's important to adapt and grow, straying from your way means losing sight of what grounds you. Musashi teaches us that true mastery comes from balancing these elements, allowing you to evolve without losing your core essence. It's a delicate balance, but one that fosters both personal growth and deep-rooted stability. Another key aspect is the idea of consistency. When you never stray from your way, you build a foundation of trust in yourself. You start to recognize patterns in your behavior, understanding what drives you and what holds you back. This self-awareness is crucial for making decisions that honor your true self, rather than being swayed by fleeting impulses or external pressures. Musashi also emphasizes the importance of inner strength. Staying true to your path requires a certain level of courage and determination. It means standing firm in your beliefs, even when others might doubt or challenge you. This inner fortitude not only helps you stay on your way but also inspires others to respect and follow your lead. In the end, never straying from the way is about living authentically and purposefully. It's a commitment to yourself, ensuring that every action you take is a step toward your true potential. Musashi's teachings remind us that the journey is just as important as the destination, and by staying true to our path, we create a life that's both meaningful and fulfilling. So, next time you feel the pull to deviate from your goals or compromise your values, remember Musashi's wisdom. Stay anchored to your way, trust in your journey, and let your inner compass guide you toward a life of purpose and integrity. It's a timeless lesson that can help steer you through any storm, keeping you focused on what truly matters. Thank you for tuning in. If you're ready to transform your life with Musashi's 21 rules, hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe to Modern Stoic for more life-changing content. Remember, true mastery comes from consistent action and deep self-reflection, just like Musashi taught us. Share your journey and how these rules are helping you fix your life in the comments below. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Stay disciplined, stay focused, and keep improving. See you in the next one.